Welcome to Statesman, the podcast where we explore all 50 states with our 5 senses. If you've come here for history, we'll give you some. But most of this is half-baked opinion that is never intended to harm or offend anyone. Today, we paint a picture of Mama America's final frontier. And while I wish that were in reference to the ecumenical cosmic forces above that remind us we are nothing but a speck of dust in, for example, one of the wettest oceans in the world, the Atlantic Ocean, it's in fact in reference to the largest parcel of land kept semi-annually warm under the cold and frostbitten toes of Mama America's size 50 feet. With 663,268 square miles of ecological elegance and resources, Sarah Palin's backyard is more than just an icy tundra of walrus, whales, and wackadoodle politics. It's a highway head's dripping wet dream, or its slippery, chilled nightmare. For here in the 49th state, only the boldest of big-rig transporters brave the seasonal hellscape of ice road trucking by putting their multi-ton 18-stack rigs pedal to cold metal over unpaved frozen lakes, rivers, and tundra, with only their adrenaline-injected hearts to keep their drivers warm. But what if I told you the real highway heads were pulled not by Wheels 18, but Paws 56? My nipples are hard from the cold. Are yours? It's the state where it's north to the future. We welcome you to Alaska.
Yeah! Here come them statesman boys again.
I'm your older statesman, Tim Ferrari, along with my junior statesman, Anthony Rossi.
Alaska question. Are you ready for a good episode?
And Stuart Highcar.
I thought 90s music would be around forever, but alas, ska left the public's, pretty good, huh?
Another fucking ska joke. God damn
What do
it.
you mean? It's in the state's name. There's only 2 of them, and we gotta get them in there.
What was the other ska?
Nebraska.
Nebraska, of course.
Yeah, and already I'm feeling the tooting horns of a big ska band because I'm filled up with musical energy today, guys, to talk about the 49th state.
Well, you put your hands in your face or your face in your hands in your face like you were listening to some ska music live. What were you doing there with your hands in your face?
I was skanking.
Oh, okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah, you probably caught me skanking in a piano tie, and I have checkerboard bands on as well.
Right. Well, you're always wearing those.
Okay.
Anthony, how was your week?
My week was fine until we brought up ska again. It's we're going back to the well with this one. Let's leave that well to rest, okay?
Look,
Sure.
I figured
more
we would pass right over ska, but here we are stuck in the mud of it.
Well, I'll drive right past that, Tim. I've had a great week. It is going to disrupt the illusion we've created for me to reveal that it is the actual week of my birthday. We did roll out my birthday gift several episodes ago, but here we are on the actual week of my birthday, on which I've had 2 birthday parties, one a surprise and one that I planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super exciting. Happy 25th.
Yeah, now I'm 25 and I've rented several cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all parked in front of our street, which, by the way, is going through road work, and you should really get them out of there. They are liable to get dinged up pretty bad.
Nothing but Lincoln MKZs.
Oh, my God.
You know, you had 2 birthday parties this week, and that's a lot like the show where you're trying to have 2 birthday episodes as well, you know? Tim, do you think you and I, did we have birthday episodes?
We weren't celebrated, that's for sure.
For sure not.
I don't even think it was brought up on the pod at all.
For the listeners at home, Tim and I share back-to-back birthdays, much
Yeah.
like that Drake song.
What?
A long
back to back.
forgotten Drake song.
Long forgotten? Well, ask me about my week, Tim.
How was your week, Stu?
Really good, all right? It was like Jordan, 96, 97. 2 championships back-to-back, dude. I've had a couple of really good days back-to-back as well. I accepted a full-time position at an office job, which is pretty exciting.
Whoa, that's
What?
news to me. You're going
Yeah.
to drop that on the podcast instead of telling us over Din?
Yeah, sorry, guys. I like creating content first and friendships second.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah,
that
that's
was
actually-
2 days ago you accepted that position?
Yeah, it was a
This
couple
is
of
2 days in which I've seen you a lot, and we
Yeah.
could have easily had a 2-second
Well,
conversation
hey,
where I could have
you
congratulated
were having a birthday party, and I didn't want to make it all about myself. Okay,
You think
I figured, huh?
letting us know about a job offer is making it all about yourself?
I think bringing up literally any personal information about my past is a little too close. You guys are stepping over the line on that one.
Put your foot in your mouth.
Stu,
You suck your toes.
You think that if you'd revealed that you'd gotten a job during my second birthday party of the week, it would have been making things too much about you?
Everybody would have lifted me up on their shoulders and left the house to go out to a bar and celebrate with me, right?
I think that I can speak for Tim and Camden and all our Statesman fans, and certainly our guest today when I say that we're all very proud that those business cards finally worked out for you.
Yeah. Big shout out to everybody who got one of my business cards in the mail or who found one next to a trash can on Belmont. I've still got 400 of them to hand out, and now as an employed man, I plan to give them out to anyone who comes and visits our office. So for those Statesman listeners, I'll be giving out that address very soon on a future pod. But Tim, how's your week been?
I was about to say I was about to be skipped over, and this needs to be all about me right now. I've had a pretty good week. One thing that I do want to bring up to you both is some very important news on the Gmail front.
Whoa.
I emailed, once again, of course, as I always do, our favorite company who shall not be named, who gives us the majority of our sale segment. That also means, missing home.
Whoever this company is, they make jars of paraffin wax with a burnable wick in the middle.
Right, and they're all, state themed.
Yes.
And so I finally got an email back.
Wow.
Whoa.
It's been a year in the making.
I think Camden has referred to this today as being our year-anniversary of releasing a podcast, basically.
That's right. Last year, 2018, November 4th, we all remember it, the most important day of 2018.
So I emailed them, and I got an automated response. I've never gotten an automated response before, so I think I've hit the right email. And so now I have to wait between 24 and 48 hours, to which it's been over 72 since receiving the last email. So maybe we'll never receive an email at all. But hey, I got through in a way.
Just hearing a no feels pretty good, to be honest.
I was sure you were going to reveal that it was a cease and desist.
I wish. I wish it was anything. I wish it was anything. But other than that, I woke up at 5. I woke up at 4:30 today and did some work, some opening at the coffee shop. And one of my least favorite customers came in today, and he's this kind of balding dude who looks incredibly Italian. And he's just an asshole. And today he came in and talked to me about how he went out into the middle of the ocean maybe like 6 or 7 years ago and harpooned a 500-pound shark and brought it back to shore illegally. And I just can't believe how that's a story that makes him feel proud as opposed to being an asshole.
He told you this like without prodding, like you asked him for his order and he's like, hold on a minute, let me craft you a tale.
This dude will just he'll talk when I cannot hear him, and I say it like, I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. And he'll just keep fucking talking about harpooning sharks. It's fucking insane.
Wow.
I guarantee that didn't happen. Let's just get that straight. That did not happen.
I know.
He made up a story that made him look like a dick.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's the thing, is that I don't think he thinks that he's a dick for harpooning a fucking shark.
Yeah, he thinks he's an ice cold badass.
Yeah.
A lot of people have opinions on sharks that are very, very negative. And I'm not just talking about other people in the California NHL scene.
Right. Well,
I think
after Steve Irwin died, you went to Australia and clubbed some manta rays.
Okay, we're not going to bring that up on podcast. I spent $6,000 on overnight tickets to Australia, and I couldn't even get to the beach because I didn't have a passport. So it was a waste of money. Look, why are we even talking about this? Let's not talk about Australia. Let's talk about Alaska.
You're right, which is on the other side of the ocean.
And instead of Stu going out and single-handedly murdering precious animals, let's talk about a state that values the conservation of wildlife.
Yeah, how about we do that? So in order to talk about Alaska, we obviously need somebody who knows so much about Alaska. And so please welcome the quiet woman, Glo Chitwood.
Hello.
Oh, wow.
Hi, Glo.
Strap in, because I'm not going to, my energy will be no more than this.
Oh, fuck.
I'm glad we're peaking early. Glo, you asked to be introduced as the quiet woman, correct?
Correct, yes.
Why is that?
I like to set standards really low, and then perhaps I'll go above being quiet.
Well, speaking of low standards, Glo, you revealed to us something about your Alaska history just before the podcast.
Yes.
We thought it was long, twisting, winding. You spent all of your summers there, your whole life there as a child. But tell us, what is your relation to Alaska?
I don't want to mislead anybody. I just lived there for 6 months recently, and I am not the master of Alaska that you think I am. I'm a fraud.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, hey, 6 months is
Yeah.
an incredibly long time to live in a different place.
It's true. It feels like a long time, but I'm not at all an Alaska resident. So
I think if you lived in Turkey for 6 months, I could, and you'd said, like, I know some stuff about Turkey, I'd have you on to talk about it, you know?
sure, yeah.
Yeah, as one of our previous guests said, if you lived at a Red Robin,
Oh, yeah.
let's go back to that belabored example.
Yeah. If you lived in a Red Robin for 6 months, you would be from Red Robin.
No, and
Oh my
even if you're
God.
not from Alaska, you certainly spent half a year there. That's awesome, and you're pretty recently back. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got back last week officially to Chicago.
Whoa,
So
holy shit!
Oh, is that why
Whoa.
there's still some snow on your shoulders?
that's right. Yeah, snow,
Yeah.
and there's a moose following me around.
Oh, God, Anthony, hide your
Incredible.
MKZs.
So when did you get back from Alaska? Or,
Uh,
sorry, when did you go to Alaska?
I went in April
Okay.
of this year.
So what were you doing up there in the middle of April?
So I went up and I worked for a kayak company, so we were doing kayak guiding. And so we trained for a month, and then we our season started, and we started doing like trips every day, and then that lasted until September.
That
Holy
month,
shit.
that month of training beforehand, was that to get you from like no kayak experience to pro, or do you have have you kayaked before? Are you a yak?
Well, that's what we all say. I used to teach kayaking on Lake Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, last year, and that was cool. But this is,
Way
Well,
different.
a little bit more intense, I guess, in terms of risk.
Are you on like whitewater?
No, this was on the ocean. This was sea kayaking.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
damn.
So you're like going around the icebergs and taunting them, and
Definitely, yeah. A lot
Right.
of throwing a lot of insults at them, making them feel pretty bad. But yeah, a lot of ice,
wow.
which is kind of dangerous. I
So you
guess.
did that for like 5 months.
Mhm.
In that time, where generally were you giving these tours, or was it the entire state?
Oh man, no, I wish. We were in Seward, so like the southern, an area called the Kenai Peninsula. So it's like on the south tip of Alaska.
Is it that little like thingy ding that
It's not
kind
the
of goes
thingy.
off?
It's not the thingy ding. It's like center bottom.
Center bottom.
Yeah.
What is that thingy ding? Is it the Alluvian Isles?
The
Aleutian?
Aleutian, yeah.
What's
the
alluvian?
Aleutian chain.
Is a-
Alluvian. Oh wow. Alluvium is like sediment. I don't know what alluvium is.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was talking
When you were
about.
out kayaking on the ocean, did you ever encounter like wildlife? Like, would you encounter whales frequently or dangerous seals?
Dangerous seals.
And I'm not talking Navy SEAls, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
SEAL
mm,
Team
mm.
6.
Watch out for my
Big
dad.
Shout out to Tim's dad on SEAL Team 6.
Well, so we would go to this bay that was like had a glacier, and so there'd be like iceberg, not bergs, but like bits of ice everywhere. And that's where harbor seals haul out and like have their young. So there would be like harbor seals over the ice with like pups. So we would try not to scare them, because
Whoa.
if we startled them, they'd like go off the ice and go into the water. But we took like a bigger boat out to that bay, and so we saw whales pretty frequently, like killer whales and humpback whales and stuff like that, and different animals.
I don't know a whole lot about the local weather there, but would you say your time spent kind of near that thingy dingy, obviously up in the north, would say like, would you call it the Shivering Isles?
No.
Are you seriously?
Oh,
Are you
sorry.
bringing up an Oblivion reference right
Yeah.
now?
So, Glo, are you originally from Chicago?
I'm from Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
The 303.
Glo, where in Colorado are you from
I
originally?
am from South Park near Breckenridge.
Oh, okay. So, Glo, I'm from just outside of Boulder.
Oh,
Grew up
okay.
my whole life there. So we're lifelong CO friends.
That's right.
Do you want to real quick just do the handshake that all Coloradans know?
That's right. Yes,
Wow.
everybody does that.
That was elaborate.
That was really crazy,
Several
y'all.
steps.
You guys probably missed some. You got to watch it back at 60 frames per second if you really want to know.
So what was the mindset going into like picking up from Chicago and going like all the way to Alaska for 6 months. That seems like a huge
Terrifying.
thought hurdle.
Yeah. I think I've always wanted to do something like seasonal. Like I love kayaking and I love guiding. And I always like sort of thought, oh man, I can't believe I gave up that possibility for my life to do comedy or whatever. And I thought, truly, I was like, wow, I guess this is just what I do forever now. And I don't get to do that life that I could be living. And then last winter I was sitting depressed, in the winter. And I was like, shit, I got to leave. And so I applied kind of on a whim.
Wow.
So it was truly a fluke. It could have been a really bad situation, but fortunately it was a really positive situation.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm so happy that worked out. That's so awesome.
A lot of like a kayak upside down. You were here and you felt cold, sort of dark, alone. And then you flip the kayak and then you're above water over in Alaska. Would you say that metaphor tracks?
The hell are you talking
So
about?
sorry.
Yeah,
Glo.
what do you think that tracks?
And would you say that if you were born in a red robin?
Oh my God. I think I only have one more question. Did you travel anywhere else in Alaska besides the bay that you had worked at?
Yeah, so I was mostly in Seward, like all summer on the Kenai Peninsula, which was a very like isolated part of the state. So I felt like I didn't see this huge state, even though I kind of talked about the entire state as if we were exploring the whole state on my trips. But at the end of the season, we took a trip up to the tundra. So we were up near Denali in like above tree line with
Whoa.
like, permafrost, no trees growing, just like shrubs and caribou and moose and like
That's
bears and stuff. And
the
it was
coolest
amazing.
thing in the world.
Yeah.
That my dad went up there a while ago and he described it as like a very alien, isolating kind of feeling.
Yeah, it was insane. Like not another person to be seen for sure.
Wow.
Man.
And how would you compare that in terms of like in terms of how you feel when you are home in Chicago? Like I know it's a completely different experience, but like what are some of your favorite things about that difference and some of the drawbacks you found?
Ooh. Wow. I don't know. I'm in a weird place because I did just get back.
That's true.
So I'm kind of feeling I thought when I went there I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get this out of my system and then I'll never have to do this sort of thing ever again. And then I went there and it became like, oh, now I live here and these are all my friends. And now I'm back here and it's like, oh, but now there's where I live.
Oh,
So I'm like in this
man.
weird in between. I'm in like purgatory.
Whoa.
So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like where is home,
Well, perhaps it's too soon to ask this question. But would you ever consider going back to Alaska to live or to perhaps die?
Answer the question.
Yes. I mean, that's truly what I'm thinking about right now because I have to give my company a decision by the end of the year if I want to go back or not for next year.
Wow.
So like, yeah, I'm in this weird place right now.
Oh, that's
if I want to
interesting.
die there, we'll
Oh.
see.
Man.
Well, hell yeah.
I hope we get to, by the end of all of our segments today, I'm hoping that you come to a decision on that and you can give the decision live to your company
Yeah,
on
I
air.
hope so too.
They are listening, Glo. You should
I
know.
God, I hope not.
We're huge up north.
All right. Well, I think we should jump into the body of the podcast. What do you guys say?
I agree completely, Tim.
Awesome. So before we jump into exploring Alaska with our five senses, we have to play a little bit of a game, which I believe Stuart has prepared.
That's right. Camden, if you would. Ooh. In this game, you're all prison guards in the infamous northern prison, Alaska Ban. This game is called Stately Potter and the Prisoner of Alaskaban. You see, because of overcrowding, the prison has recently taken on busloads of prisoners from other states. After that earthquake last week, all the old prisoners have been jumbled up with a new shipment of prisoners from the lower 49. It's total havoc here at Alaskaban, and you guards need to help us sort out the mess. So one at a time, I'll tell you about a real crime that has occurred within the 50 states, and then you'll tell me if the offense in question happened in Alaska or in one of the other 49 states. Now, whichever one of you has the best score of prisoner sortings in the end, you'll win the Guard of the Year and be promoted to Warden of Alaskaban Prison. How does that sound, guys? Any questions?
I'm not sure I'm qualified. The only spell I know how to cast is Alohomora Borealis.
Okay, that was really clean and fast.
Yeah, that was really good.
Any questions about the game, guys? Excited to play?
I'm ready to play. I'm lost on the rules because I was thinking of that joke, but hey, let's dive on in.
Oh boy. Glo, we're gonna start with you.
Oh, good.
So I'm gonna give you this crime. Just tell me if it's an Alaska native who committed it or someone from one of the other 49. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Pooper intendant admits to using high school football field as personal toilet. Is this criminal from Alaska or is he from somewhere else?
I'm going to say they're from somewhere else.
Ding, 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 ding. That's right. That was a New Jersey gentleman
That
in
sounds right.
2018.
Yeah, I got that.
Sounds very,
Yeah,
very
that makes
Jersey.
sense.
Yeah.
You go to jail for pooping in public?
Yes. On a high school football field? Yeah.
You go to Alaska Ban, the most solitary
Yes.
prison located in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Infamous Northern Wizard Prison. Yes. Alaska Ban.
There's indecency and vandalism involved, so that's two things right there that combines into one.
It's a little bit of poop.
He was also the pooper intendant, you know. Did you?
I heard that.
That's right there.
Cool. Anthony,
Yes.
your crime. This prisoner was a jet ski enthusiast who faced criminal fines after pestering a pod of whales.
Jet skiing doesn't seem like the right mode of transportation, but I'm gonna say that might just be something to throw me off the scent, because I'm sure during some of the warmer times you could jet ski around. Pod of whales. I'm gonna say that is Alaska.
That was a correct answer.
Yeah.
Nice.
What did you guys think of that whale sound?
Spot on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
spot on.
Thank you.
What did
Right.
you say?
I said, good one, mate. That was an Australian whale. Tim, over $1,000 falls out of alleged drug dealer's butt while in county jail. Was that an Alaska native or was he from one of the other 49? Think it through. Think it through.
$1,000 of a person's butt.
Our second crime involving something falling out of someone's butt.
I'm gonna say not from Alaska because $1,000 would be frozen up there.
Look, I don't understand your logic getting there, but ding, 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 you are correct. In
Wow.
fact, that was a Florida man from 2017.
Yes, this makes sense.
Yeah, pretty classic. Look,
Swamp ass.
all three of you guys are 1 for 1 right now. You all obviously want to be the warden of Alaska Ban pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's true.
God.
Okay, well, Glo, we're coming back to you. Guy dressed as Joker arrested for wearing mask and walking around in public holding a sword. Now, is this guy from Alaska or from the lower 49?
I feel like I heard about this,
Yeah, I also feel like I heard of it.
and I feel like it was not in Alaska.
A ding, ding, ding. Ha, 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 as the Joker might say. That was a Virginia native in 2017. Wow, you guys are doing very well. All correct so far, but I think this one might trip up little Anthony.
Uh-oh.
Ready?
All
Police spent August searching for a man in a fairly realistic bear costume who was caught harassing hikers near a local river. Now, that bear costume is fairly realistic. And Anthony, do you think the person who owns it is from Alaska or one of the other 49 states?
Now, is this the bear costume from Workaholics? Because that one scares me every time I see it.
Hell yeah, dude. I love Blakeaholics or whatever.
So funny.
Anthony,
I'm thinking
Alaska, the other 49.
this is an insane headline, and I want to see pictures of the costume really badly.
Well, have you seen Midsummer? No spoilers.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say not Alaska because I think that once again, I think that you're trying to catch me.
Well, I'll say this in bear. Wrong.
Fuck.
Wow. Yeah, that was an Alaska native in 2018.
Damn.
Very recently. Glo, you might have even heard about that one.
I did not hear about this.
What? You didn't get harassed by any bears up in Alaska?
I saw many, but I did not get harassed.
Did
by
any of them look fairly realistic?
All of them looked fairly realistic.
Well, Tim,
little
we
realistic.
have a new prisoner for you to sort. Officers watched Oh, I guess you have 3 to sort, but only 1 crime was committed. Officers watched 3 extremely intoxicated and giggling men urinate on the road, on themselves, and on one another in front of a neighborhood bar. So you tell me, these 3 PP gentlemen, are they from Alaska or the lower 49?
They were probably just trying to keep warm. Alaska.
Ding, ding, ding. Wow, yeah.
Easy
one.
Yeah.
Easy one. Seems like with the jet skis and now this, a lot of water sports in Alaska. Okay, Glo, we've returned to you for your final. You're 2 for 2 right now. This could put you at a perfect 3 out of 3. Woman arrested for smoking weed in parking lot before court summons for weed possession. Was that in Alaska or the lower 49 states?
Okay. Well, weed is legal in Alaska.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to say.
Now, I will say this crime took place in 2016.
Okay. I don't know when it was legalized. I'm going to say that happened in Alaska.
I'm sorry, Glo.
No.
That happened in Long Island.
Oh,
New York, baby.
Long Island is not a state.
Okay, New York is.
Okay, you're right.
And although we didn't talk about Long Island on the state podcast, it is part of New York State, and that woman, unfortunately, was committing a felony. 2 for 3. Not bad,
Stu,
Glo.
You
Huh?
misled our guest. You cut in to make her second guess her decision.
Like any
headed in the
good
right direction.
gamesman, I have to create some sort of nerve, some sort of electricity, like a thunderbolt on the lightning on the head, right? You seen Harry Potter?
No.
Okay, a shoplifter used a
Not
wad
on the
of
page nor the screen.
Jesus. A shoplifter used
Nary
a
once have I seen or consumed a Harry Potter piece.
Tim, we're moving on to
Not
you.
a single costume on the streets in Halloween,
Wait, did Anthony
nor
get
in the
his...
theater, nor a bookshop.
I am giving
No,
Anthony.
not for me. I prefer nonfiction. Dense books about the wars. I like reading about the Gauls.
Anthony's been guarding over this prison for too long.
Anthony, you've obviously gone
Never
insane inside the walls of Alaska Band, but tell me, a shoplifter used a wad of Play-Doh to block a security camera, leaving their fingerprints behind in the dough. Did that happen in Alaska or the other 49?
Not Alaska.
Anthony, how many have you gotten right so far?
1 and 1 wrong.
Well, guess what, buddy? You're going to 2 for 3. Not bad. You got that one correct.
Nice.
That was a Massachusetts man in 2019. Tim, let's just round it out. You could go for. You got 1 correct, right?
It's either I tie, we're all the best one, or I'm the best.
Okay. This is exciting then. Man arrested for trespassing at active construction sites and putting up fake signs reading Whole Foods coming soon. Now, did that occur in Alaska or in the other 49 states?
That's definitely an Alaska thing. There's absolutely no way anywhere else because Whole Foods is located in all 49 except.
Tim, you have become the warden of Alaska Band Prison. Congratulations! Correct.
Thank you.
How does it feel to run the most dangerous prison in the North?
Well, I'm stepping down. This place needs to be shut down forever. There's too many people who've been arrested for pooping on football fields in here, and I don't think that's a crime, so I'm quitting and shutting this fucker down.
It's only right for you to do it. You have the power in doing that, but now criminals are running wild in Alaska, and it's up to Anthony and I to stop them.
Never once have I tasted a Bertie Bott's jelly bean.
Okay, move on. Glo, that game, full of power. How did you feel about it?
I felt very powerful. I felt empowered.
How do you feel about Tim becoming the new warden of Alaska Band?
I think
And did you ever kayak past it in the middle of the ocean?
Oh, always. There was actually, it's funny, there is a prison in Seward.
Is
where I
there?
lived.
Whoa.
Yes. And there was, in the 90s, a serial killer who was in the prison.
Whoa.
Wait, but he lived in the prison.
He did live. He lived in the prison
Okay.
and he died in the prison.
Well, I guess that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was like you're banished to the ultimate prison, like the
Yeah.
most remote.
Yeah,
Damn.
very remote prison.
Hard to do serial killing up there in the north.
Well,
You think
perhaps they
fine.
did their they did their crimes elsewhere and they were shipped there to keep them away from society.
Like the raft.
Just like I'm kept away from society because I've never partaken in it. J.K. Rowling's masterworks.
Oh my God.
You're a real Slytherin. You know that? Tim, let's go.
Yeah, what was the name of your game again?
It was Stately Podder, and that's Podder, and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Gotcha. All right. Well, great game, Stuart.
Thanks.
The title was absolutely the most fun part about it. And
Okay.
So we're going to go on to explore Alaska with our 5 senses. And to start, we're going to stick our noses into a frosted bag to see what smells we can elicit out of this smell. So you kind of can see through it, although the bag is frosted. So I'm going to start passing around this plastic bag.
Okay.
And I filled it with some stuff that I think kind of reminds me of Alaska. So go ahead, stick your sniffer in there and tell me, what are you pulling out?
Wow. Okay. I wish I hadn't looked in the bag, but
Again.
I'm sorry. It's a clear Ziploc bag, and when you put your nose in it, you kind of look straight down the barrel of it. But man, quite the smell dropping out of that. Very fresh trees and a cold, brisk air touching my little nostrils. Glo, you just had your nose in that bag. What are you picking up on in there?
Yeah, it's definitely pine cones and ice cubes in a plastic bag.
Wow. Way to just give it away. That's exactly right. How did you know?
I just had a hunch,
So, yes, I put pine cones and a little bit of crushed ice in a plastic bag. And I also crushed those pine cones up to make their aromas come out. Does this smell at all remind you of Alaska?
I'd say yes.
Wow.
Ooh.
Nailed it. Yeah.
That's
a lot of spruce trees.
A lot of spruce trees.
Do you see a lot of ice cubes floating around the water when you're in there kayaking?
Yes.
Pretty sure we already
might-
asked that question.
Yeah, you might be.
I'm not talking
surprised,
about
but
bergs. I'm talking about specifically tiny little cubes.
Tiny little cubes, for sure.
Well, damn,
Yeah.
I like it.
Like you'd find in a Manhattan drink.
Stu, stop
Exactly.
trying to lick these. That's the wrong kind of snow cone.
What?
What?
Look,
Oh.
speaking of a little frozen cubes floating around in some water, Camden, you're doing an aquatic Minecraft concert soon, right?
Oh, man.
I thought this was a great smell. I really, really enjoyed that. And frankly, from an outsider's perspective, that's definitely what I would associate with Alaska and
Yeah.
expect it to smell like.
What other smells do you commonly associate with the state?
Well, I was in a fishing town,
Yeah.
so I would say like salmon guts.
Like dead?
Ugh.
Like dead
Yeah.
fish?
Yeah. But also, like fresh fish, like
Yeah.
people fishing, which doesn't smell bad.
Mhm.
And so early in the season, it's like, ooh, salmon. And then at the end of the season, all the salmon are dead and they're like floating downstream and it's
Ugh.
really
Oh,
stinky.
man.
So yeah, it changes over time.
Gross.
But smelling this actually, makes me curious, like what other states what smells you've chosen for other states.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when you had,
Glow.
like if you have New York,
Mhm.
did you have like a sneaker in a plastic bag?
I believe it was a bunch of garbage that we
No,
had to smell.
It was a bag of leaves. I took
Oh,
I-
okay.
With some meat sprinkled in.
That's
Yeah.
right. There was some seasoned
like
Italian meat.
mortadella sprinkled into a bag of leaves.
But we have smelled dirt a lot. There's been a lot
Yeah,
of dirt.
that makes sense.
Tim has been trying to capture the smell of rain for a very long time.
Wow.
He's a mad scientist, and that's
very
his-
elusive.
It's
Yeah.
a tough one to capture in a bottle.
Same with fresh air. I'd say fresh air is also one of those classic elusive smells that I don't think you can get in a bottle.
For sure, but you're not going to find any of that in the city, my friend.
Definitely not. You got to go elsewhere. It was surprisingly hard to find these pine cones. I don't know. Can you name it 2 pine trees in your closest vicinity? I can't. Although I did. I found these 30 minutes before recording.
Were you just like walking around outside looking for coniferous trees?
Well, I went to pick up a smell and picked up like 2 bath bombs that like sort of smelled piney or like tree-y or sea salty.
I like that.
And then I found, then I was looking up and I was like, oh, maybe I'll find a pine tree walking home. And lo and behold, there was one with 4 lovely pine cones on the ground. And serendipitous.
So that's what took you so long to get ready today. You were in the bath using those bombs.
Right. No, I didn't use them. Actually, Glo, if you want those bombs, I have them still, and I'm not going to use them.
What do you mean, Tim? You drop bombs in our bathroom all the time.
Wow.
God damn it, man.
Oh, man.
Glo, this smell, I mean, when you were up there smelling those stinky salmon sometimes, the sweet trees and the crisp ice,
Sure.
did you ever think to yourself, man, this is as good as it gets in terms of fresh outdoor smells? I think of Alaska so removed from, I don't want to say the civilized world, but like the industrial world, that like, for some reason, I think the air up there must just be the best example of fresh American air. Do you think that's true?
Yeah. I mean, you and I are from Colorado. So I
100%.
always thought, oh, this is as good as it gets. But up there, like, there are plants that grow that are indicators that the air is like the cleanest it can be. Like there's like a lichen called wizard's beard and it like hangs from trees and it only grows where air is like super pure and like that's crazy.
That's awesome.
You know where a lot of wizards grow beards?
Oh no.
It's Alaska ban. But I want to ask you,
I'm going to Alaska ban you from this podcast.
growing up at altitude, do you think, and I think this about myself as a natural born athlete, do you think that made you a better kayaker? Do you think you can take in air and process it better than others?
Oh man, I think people who live at altitude think that that's true.
Mm-hmm. I would
Because
say
it makes
I
them
do.
feel good. Yeah.
Wow, just put you down to the ground
no,
without
I
even
just
really
don't.
doing
I don't know how true it is. I don't know the science, but I think people like kids who grow up at altitude are always like, "Yeah, we're tough."
Well, when you moved, when did you move out of Colorado?
When I was 18.
And did you move directly to Chicago?
Mhm.
Did you find yourself running a couple of miles each morning and not having to catch your breath whatsoever?
Yeah, I think it's different when you go down to like a lower altitude. For
Yeah,
sure.
we are gods.
I'd say that for sure.
I just got one more question about the smell.
Yeah.
So your time in the fishing town was obviously like kind of smelly with fish, but when you went up to the permafrost, like what were those kind of smells? Was it just like super fresh and super chilly air, or were there any like floral scents or tree scents?
Well, there was like no trees. I would say there were no smells. It was also
Wow.
fall. Like it was already fall. It was September, so it was already fall up there. So I don't know what it smells like in the spring in the
Yeah.
tundra, but yeah, no smell.
So in the excuse my ignorance, but when it's in the fall and it's the tundra, is there like snow on the ground, or is it just like kind of frozen ground?
Yeah, it wasn't snowing yet. It was in like the high 40s, mid 50s, so it wasn't super cold yet. But,
Okay.
Everything had turned yellow and red. Like it was obviously fall, but not snowing yet. So
Would you just really quickly tell us about the coldest night or coldest day you experienced? Or were you lucky in outside of that window?
yeah. Well, we would take a boat out to this other bay as part of one of our trips. It'd be like an 11-hour day, kayaking included. And if it was raining really hard, we would be rained on and be completely wet and then go kayak out in front of like a huge piece of ice, like a glacier. So it'd be super cold in front of this ice getting rained on. And I loved it. But sometimes the people who went on the trips were not ready for that. You can imagine, like little kids, like small children. Who
We're
were
just
like,
not ready.
like 6-year-olds who were like, why am I here?
People are bringing 6-year-olds out on kayak
Yes,
trips?
totally.
Good Lord.
It's a long day.
What happens if a sperm whale eats one?
You really want Glo
I'm
to answer
serious.
that?
Do you
Why a
have
sperm
to?
whale?
I'm just trying to think of whales that exist up in the
Oh, man.
north.
I've never seen a sperm whale.
Killer whales?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Has a killer whale ever eaten a child on your watch?
I would have to say no.
But
as far as I know.
I am genuinely curious. Like, did you have to undergo like extensive emergency training just so you had like survivalism skills or anything? If anything went wrong?
Well,
Or
we were all like wilderness first responders. Like we're all medically trained, I guess.
oh yeah.
But like wildlife is your least concern. It's more just people falling out of their kayak and getting
Yeah,
too
people
cold.
being dummies.
Yeah, totally.
Man, I hope if when I die later in this podcast, you guys
Yeah.
are able to resuscitate me with Glo's help.
No, I don't
Hard
think
to
so.
So we have to rate this smell out of something. And Stu, you've got your hand raised. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, well, we got into it. I know every single one of us at the table, huge Potterheads.
Right. Of
How
course.
about we rank this smell out of the 7 iconic books of the great J.K. Rowling?
So Glo, out of the 7 books of the J.K. Rowling Harry Potter series, how many does my smell get?
I'm going to give it 7 books.
Wow.
I
Nice.
got a literally perfect series. I mean, Harry Potter might be the best freaking series ever of all time.
Hell yeah. I like Divergent.
So wait,
Nice.
so what book is the 7th one? That's not
The Deathly Hallows,
Deathly
my
Hallows,
boy.
of course. Part 2.
Those are the movies.
Right, of course. I'm a huge fan.
Anthony's looking at me with a blank stare, like he was just what is the spell that freezes you?
Huh?
Oh, yikes!
I
shouldn't
wouldn't know.
have gotten
I'm not
into this.
familiar with this series. Never a book,
So dumb.
never a written word, never a shot.
Look, we should just move on, get on our brooms, and fly away. Eh, Glo?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so that was I received a Deathly Hallows of a Harry Potter book out of 7 of the books, and
Good job.
you know, I love it. JK, you reach out to us and we'll bring you on the pod. Okay, so we're gonna explore the rest of Alaska with our 5 senses. We've done our sniffers, so why not let's look to our lookers? Anthony, why don't you take the visual presentation away?
Ah, yes. Get your eyes ready, as Mad Eye Moody might say. It's time for Alaska.
I can't believe this has to be all about fucking
You're an
Harry
all
Potter.
Harry Potter stuff.
All right.
hate this.
There's no Harry Potter stuff in this presentation. I can tell you that with absolute certainty. Here we have Alaska, the written word on the blank white page. But there's something a little different about this slide. This isn't just a white background stock card. This is during a whiteout. A photo taken during a prime blizzard
In the middle of the
in
day.
the middle of the day.
Hell yeah, dude. This is primo stuff.
Yep. Awesome. Let's move on to the next slide.
Jesus
Sets
Christ.
a high bar for the rest of the presentation, I know.
That's right.
Here we
Wow.
have the state outline. Wow, what a cool outline. It is a very naturally abstract one, but does anyone have any, like, you know, beyond the fact that it looks like the outline of Alaska, if we're going to get abstract with it and try to compare it to something else, what are you guys seeing when you look at that?
I mean, I'd be happy to jump out right in front. Have you guys ever seen the Adult Swim show Squidbillies?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think it looks like a little squid with his little tendrils on both sides, and his little body and some hair on the back. That looks like a little squid.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a good one.
Thank you. I
I,
try my best.
I don't know what this could possibly look like. If I turn my head to the left, then I see kind of other way, Stuart. I see 2 heads on the western side, and then on their left hand is being raised up as if asking a question.
A curious state full of curious minds. Isn't that right, Glo?
That's what everybody's saying.
Flo, do
When
you
you-
see anything out of this state outline?
Yeah. There's like definitely 2 legs.
See, I'm thinking that
Ooh.
too, like
Yeah.
some sort of
It
running.
could be
thing.
anything. Yeah. Anything with 2
Oh.
legs.
Sure.
Little cube man running his way down the block.
So the western side to me, if you ignore the bottom, it kind of looks like a baby strapped into a car seat.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
Are we seeing that at
Yeah,
all?
little legs, little hand, little head, little mouth.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Let's tarry no further and move on.
Wait, I need to tarry. Glo, where the heck were you stationed in this state? Just so we can get a good look at it.
Sure. Well, I was down here. This
Ah.
area. Yeah.
On like the little Loch Ness monster head in the
That's right.
southern portion of the old state outline.
Yeah.
So
that's
that's-
the Kenai Peninsula.
That's a peninsula, I
Mhm.
see. And is this like the bay where you would do a lot of kayaking, this sort of like little alien hand coming in here?
No, the alien hand is the Cook Inlet. We were like actually out in kind of more this area.
I
like,
see.
More toward the Gulf.
Cook County to Cook Inlet. You've been all everywhere.
Wow.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Anthony?
I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Here we have the state flag, and damn, what a beauty.
Yeah.
It's a navy background, but no state seal to be found. Just some gold stars in the shape of the Big Dipper and the North Star Polaris. So the North Star guides true north, and the Big Dipper is actually called Ursa Major, which means Big Bear. And in a way, this is a representation of a state animal on the flag in a little bit of a clever way.
Oh, that's right. Bears, Polaris, Polar. This is a perfectly representative flag for Alaska.
I don't think polar bears are in Alaska. Are they?
You're wrong. They're
Really?
up north, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I thought they were only like Antarctic
That's
creatures.
penguins. That's penguins.
No, they're in the Arctic. Yeah, they're up north.
Polar
Yeah.
bears are not in Antarctica?
They are not.
Mm-mm.
Oh, shit.
They couldn't get down.
Dang.
Yeah, they just couldn't get down.
They've tried too, but just like me in Australia, no passports, baby.
So the flag that this is most similar to technically is the California state flag. We've got
What?
a bear and a star.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
guess.
stretch.
Not at all. What a gorgeous flag, though. Seriously, like I think that it's beautiful in its simplicity. It's clear. It doesn't have the state name on it. These are all strikes that we've had against other flags, and damn, I just think that's gorgeous. And just imagining seeing that at the top of a flagpole, hey, makes me want to salute.
Absolutely. But Glo, I want to ask you. I mean, the Big Dipper's on your flag. What are the big dipping sauces in Alaska?
Oh man.
Jesus. What the fuck?
It's an honest. Let her answer.
I'd say it's anything that we have in the lower 48. Something special.
Oh,
You got
okay.
ranch, you got,
Have you
buffalo sauce.
Have you tried cranch?
Glo, what do you think of this flag?
I like the flag. I could get on board.
I have a question.
Yeah.
An actual one.
I need to be resuscitated.
You probably saw a lot of stars up in Alaska. I imagine the light pollution to be super low.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that like a major beauty that you saw up there?
It's interesting. I was there in the summer, so for a lot of it, we were having 22 to 24 hours of daylight.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
But at the end, we were having more nighttime, and now they're having like prime aurora borealis like, viewing, which I never saw up there. But
I was gonna ask.
yeah, so that's not really something I saw.
How did you what techniques did you use to adjust your sleep schedule to that kind of condition?
I thought it would be hard, and like my parents came and visited, and they would stay up all night and not know why. It'd be like midnight. And
Oh, yeah.
my mom was just sitting there, and I was like, "You should be in bed," and she was like, "It's 6 p.m." And I was like, "No, it's not." But I was so exhausted the whole time that,
Sure,
I could sleep at any time of day or night, so it was totally fine.
Oh,
Do you
damn.
have a lot of blackout curtains up there?
I thought I would need that, and it turns out if you exhaust yourself during the day enough, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I can imagine.
My God. A lot of stars on the flag. Did you see any stars while you were up there? Any famous people come to take tours?
Well, no, but Jack Black's sister works at the local aquarium.
Whoa.
that's awesome.
I did not meet her, but
Yeah.
apparently people bother her at the aquarium.
Oh,
man.
Did you know that Jack Black's son is a good friend of ours on the podcast?
Oh my God, no, he's not.
If we say it, he'll come on the fucking show, dude.
I personally love this flag. I love space, and this is like this is the embodiment of it. I mean, it's the closest goddamn thing to space that I've seen on a flag. So props to this one.
Nice. Well, why don't we hit the space bar and move on to the next slide? Wow. The state bird, the willow ptarmigan.
Yeah, it's a ptarmigan.
Ptarmigan.
Yeah, you
I
got
see it. When I read this word, I originally wanted to call it the willow parmesan. But it's actually a member of the grouse family, friends. It's got a white body and a brown head with a fun red accent around its eye. Like a teen on Euphoria, perhaps, exploring new makeup options.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is
man.
a fun picture. It's on a rocky piece of what I'm assuming is tundra, based on the faint colors we can make out in the background.
Shit, it could be alluvium.
And in that case, I'm saying, I love you very much, bird.
Oh.
Sweet, sweet bird.
Jesus Christ.
A real stretch, but hey, a real stretch like that bird's neck.
Yeah,
It's reaching out to caw. Did you ever encounter these in the wild up
I
there?
did. I saw quite a few ptarmigan in the tundra, mostly. But
Ptarmigan Tundra.
Yeah, but they have a silent P in their name. So some people come up to Alaska and they're like, "Oh, a ptarmigan."
Is that true? It starts with a P?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to call it the Parmesan.
Ah, yes.
I love this little eyeshadow going on with this bird. It is that is an attractive feature.
I kind of like how the top part of the bird is like brown, but the body is like white. It looks like a vanilla dip cone or something, you know?
Yeah, sometimes their coloration is altered, and I think that might be seasonal or it might be reflective of age. I'm not exactly sure, but this was the most standard color that I was seeing.
Yeah, a lot of people when they get older, they go from blue to red. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
All right, let's not get political.
I think this is a great state bird because I think it's super unique and it really reflects the local wildlife. I don't think this was a random choice by any means. It seems like it was an active fixture in the wilderness up there. So, hey, a little more creative than some of the other states. I'm looking at you, everyone who chose a cardinal.
Wow. Okay. Hey, Glo, any other birds up there?
Definitely. More than this one.
Any memorable ones? Maybe
Yeah.
did one land on your hand?
Oh man, I wish. There were a lot of really cute seabirds. A lot of puffins. People
Yeah.
love puffins. People also think puffins are like the size of penguins, I found out. That's
Oh,
like
yeah.
a normal thing. And they're like a little chicken nugget.
little
you know,
tinies.
little tiny bird.
Puffins are that
But
small?
puffins are insane because they're, tiny little birds.
Right.
They have this really beautiful beak,
Mhm.
but they spend 9 months in open ocean. Like they go up to the Bering Sea and they just hang out in open ocean. That little beautiful part of their beak just falls off. And they just like hang out in 30-foot waves and just like the waves crash over them and they just love it. They just hang out. And that's all they do. And then
That's
they
so
go inland
fascinating.
to like nest and
and like
have their chick,
regrow
but-
their beaks and whatnot?
yeah, like they mate, but otherwise they're just out in open ocean.
You think
hanging
a
out.
hermit crab could live in one of those beaks?
Sure.
Once we kick you out of our apartment, maybe you'll live in one of those peaks. Let's move on to the next slide. Here we have a really awesome state flower, the forget-me-not. And what an unforgettable pick. Damn, a nice bunch of blue flowers with yellow eyes. Just peeping at you.
Blue and yellow, just like the flag.
And they have a nice green stalk situation, and they come in like little collective bunches. Did you encounter these all over the place?
I don't think I saw any forget-me-nots.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I feel like you would remember if you had. I want to ask you, like, is there a lot of nature? You mentioned the wizard's beard earlier.
Yeah.
Are there a bunch of other plants? Like, I mean, we smelled some trees. We're talking wizard's beard. What's your favorite Alaska plant? Other than that, well, I don't have to say it, but it was legalized there since 2016.
Incredible.
Thanks.
But yeah. I actually am very passionate about my favorite plant in Alaska.
Oh,
And it's so lame. And it's called cow parsnip. And it looks so lame. It looks like any old weed, but it's really tall. It's like 6 feet tall or something.
Oh.
And it looks very unassuming. But if you brush up against it and then go out in the sun, your skin will blister.
Whoa.
And so it's like, I say it's a ninja when I'm talking about it. I think it's like secretly dangerous.
it's
That's
like
so cool.
like a cooking oil or something. If you get it on you, the sun will just fry you right up.
Exactly, yeah.
What?
Insane.
What?
Once
That's
you're
wild.
fried up, what dipping sauce would you go with, Stu? We'd all love to know. No, that's awesome. That's a really interesting pick. I think this doesn't have any interesting effects, but it is captivating. And
Yeah.
perhaps that's the only effect you need to have. Let's move on to the next slide.
Mm.
Here we have Anchorage, the most populated city in Alaska, and it looks like a great place to live. Look at this. There's like a nice bay out front, and then there's a fairly booming city. Not a bunch of skyscrapers, definitely some variation on the heights of the buildings. And then in the background, we just have a majestic, We have a majestic group of peaks.
Woo! Look at those peaks. A gorgeous. We've seen shots like this before. Salt Lake City comes to mind, of course. Any city with a backdrop of mountains, I think, gets a pass for me in terms of beauty. You know, you don't have to have great architecture if you have, the great God's architecture, if you will, mountains. And that's what us Colorado natives call it.
Yeah, that's what we're all. That's what we
Thank
all
you.
say,
Thank
yeah.
you. Anthony, you must have a lot to say about Anchorage. It's probably weighing down your whole slideshow. What do you, any more facts or?
No, not particularly. Glo, did you ever make it up to Anchorage?
I did just a few times, so I don't know a lot about it. But yeah, went to the museum. That was cool. It's any city, I guess, like any city.
What kind of museum?
It was like the history museum. A lot of Alaska Native history, which is cool. The first kayak, home of the kayak.
What?
Really cool.
The first one?
I mean, I didn't see the first one, but they created like the first kayaks.
Oh, damn. So when you went up to Anchorage, especially compared to Seward, did it feel like a booming metropolis, or did it still feel pretty slow?
It definitely felt like a booming metropolis. Like we all would go grocery shopping maybe 2 times throughout the season. So we were in Seward, and none of us had a car, so we would like make this kind of pilgrimage up to Anchorage in a van, and we'd walk into Costco and just like stare at these giant TVs.
Oh man,
because we hadn't seen anything like that in a long time.
Oh, damn. Wow.
I mean, not to say we're like out in the middle of nowhere, because we definitely weren't, but it was definitely like a big deal to go to Costco.
The brightest lights you would see on a typical day to day would be candlelight. Is that accurate to say?
I don't think that's fair for me to say.
Well, I think this is an interesting city. Stu, you hit it right on the nose. It does kind of look like the sister city to Salt Lake.
I agree, yeah. And part of that is the lake.
Tim, any thoughts?
No, but one of my customers at Electric Mud told me that there are cities in Alaska that are larger than the state of Rhode Island, which I think is super interesting, and I'm curious to know if Anchorage is one of them.
Well, you'll remain curious to know, because that's not in my notes. We can move on to the next slide.
Before we do, Glo, let me ask you this as someone who's out on the water a lot. How to ask this question, I suppose. When a captain of a ship accidentally stops the ship and has to turn around, and he doesn't want to do it, would you say that that is a case of anchor rage?
Jesus, stop the podcast.
And get me off. Anthony, what is this we're looking at? I'm really sorry, Glo. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
We're all sorry.
know.
Here we have Fairbanks. This is the second most populous city in all of Alaska, and no snow in this shot. He's just got a nice plaza, river running through it, a nice bridge over there, and then lots of lush green. Are those spruce trees?
Probably yes.
You know, they say this is the best place to go if you're looking for a loan as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know any Fairbanks in this late capitalism world of ours.
So what do we need to know about Fairbanks? Because it looks better than Fair. It looks good banks.
Yeah, it's a fine city. It's definitely not as hustle and bustle as Anchorage, but there's still a fair amount of people who live here. Glo, did you ever make it up this way? It looks like you have a nice little lane to pull up in your kayak.
Oh man, thank you.
The river.
I never made it to Fairbanks. It's pretty far from where I was, like hours away. But it gets pretty hot in Fairbanks. I think people don't know that, but like it gets in the 90s in the summer in Fairbanks.
Whoa.
Oh, wow,
like
really?
Alaska, yeah, Central Alaska, it's pretty hot.
Damn.
Is that because? Oh, no, go for it.
I've heard Alaska gets like a lot of mosquitoes. Were you around for the mosquito season?
I thought it would be worse. I told my parents I was going to Alaska. My dad all he said to me was mosquitoes. And,
He
so
hung
I-
up the phone. He's
Kind of.
mosquitoes.
That's all he said. He was like mosquitoes. And I went up there and I thought it'd be much worse, and it was okay.
Wow,
it was
he
like
didn't even
anywhere
say
else.
goodbye.
Yeah, no, just
Wow.
mosquitoes.
He thought the word mosquito was enough. He knew you wouldn't come back. I mean, I read online as well that like it's a serious problem up there, that it's like you'll be eaten alive.
Well,
but it's
people
just
say
like
it's like the state bird. Like that's the joke, is that the mosquito is the state bird. Ha ha ha. But
that is about as
maybe
funny
they're,
as any joke I tell.
Hilarious. Maybe there are worse years though.
Yeah.
Or maybe I think some people are more susceptible to mosquitoes, and I think that's a state of mind. I truly think this is a psychological thing.
What?
If you think you're going to be like followed by mosquitoes and eaten, like you'll get bitten. But if you don't think about it, then you don't get bitten. That's how I feel.
Maybe it's like bees or something, where it's like if you're not breathing heavily and scared, then they're
Sure.
not attracted to like the carbon dioxide in your breath. Or it's like dogs who like can sense fear or something. And
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Tim? You can sense fear.
Well, I have mastered manifesting the universe, and I believe that if you manifest that a mosquito will not bite you on the armpit, then it will not.
Hey, speaking of dogs that can sense fear, Sirius Black's animal form. Let's move on to the next slide. If you please, Stu. So we've talked about plenty of J.K. Rowling on this podcast. How about some J.K. Simmons? This is Juneau, Alaska. Spelled differently, of course. Juneau. Nice. This is a really cool shot and a cool city structure, in my opinion, because it's kind of tucked in this little pocket at the base of a mountain, sort of. and it kind of wraps around this little bay, and it's not as it's kind of dense, but it's not tall. It's kind of flat but long, wrapping around. It's a very unique kind of shape, and perhaps it's just the area that's frequently photographed, but damn, it's a cool little port almost.
Glo, did you visit Juneau at all, or is this another one that's very far away?
This is another one that's like a plane ride away. But
Such a
it
big
seems really
state.
cool. It is a very big state. Yeah, it seems very cool. People love Juneau. I've never been there, but
It looks like a resort town almost. Like you'd pull up in a cruise ship, get off, hang out in Juneau for a little bit, and then
yeah,
go
that's
somewhere
that's
else.
a big thing there for sure.
There are a lot of Alaska cruise ships, right?
Mhm.
That's like,
Yeah, totally. And Seward had like a bunch of the cruises started or ended where I was. So like a lot of cruise people hanging around.
so it's essentially like if you're not a Colorado native and you don't have like the strength to kayak with you just get on one of these cruise ships, right?
I don't know about strength. Maybe just people don't want to. Yeah, but that was like a lot of it. People, want to hang out, I guess, on vacation and not do anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a bunch of losers.
Did you ever find yourself interacting with a lot of the people who were taking those cruises? Where like was a lot of their like off-boat activity coming on the kayak trip, or?
So I thought that would happen, but all the cruises start or end in Seward. So people would take the bus or train from Anchorage and immediately get on the cruise ship in Seward, or they get off and immediately get bussed up to Anchorage. And I found out that's because the cruise line wants people to stay in their hotels that they own, and Seward won't let hotels be built that are owned by the cruise line because they would like monopolize the town.
Yeah.
So they would ship them straight up to Anchorage where they do own hotels and just put them in their hotels there. So they can stay in their hotels and eat at their restaurants and continue paying them.
Wow,
For however long.
that's crazy.
Wild.
So in like typically tropical cruise ships attract these like really specific kind of asshole people. Was it kind of a different kind of asshole that was attracted to the Alaska cruise line, or was it a chiller vibe?
Oh man. I think I had a pretty good experience. Like
Cool.
it seemed to be like older people or like families
Nice.
or families with older people.
A little
Yeah.
more peaceful sightseeing and less
Yeah.
chaotic. Let's get hammered and sit on a beach all day.
Yeah, definitely people who want to see wildlife. That was like the whole thing.
Nice.
Did you work with any Alaskan natives on your kayaking trips?
Well, no. the word like Alaska natives are like Native Americans who live in Alaska.
Right.
Like Native Alaskans are like people who live in Alaska.
Gotcha.
But there are not a ton of those in the tourism industry in Seward. So like everybody who works for my company is not from Alaska.
Gotcha.
Damn.
Yeah.
You guys are all shipped in?
Well, yeah, we're all from all over.
Wow, that's
the lower
wild.
48.
Did you interact with a lot of people from Alaska?
No, not really. A few people from Seward who like grew up there, but
Interesting.
yeah, a lot of people. So the town itself in the summer, the population is 6,000, which is, normal town size, pretty small, I guess. But in the winter, the population is 1,100. So like 5,000 people
Jesus.
leave in the winter and they only live there seasonally.
I mean,
wow.
I kind of understand that
Sure,
though,
yeah.
right? Like tourism slows down greatly. I mean, what else are you going to be doing there in Seward?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a lot of fun winter activity? Sledding.
Sledding, big time. Backcountry skiing, people do stuff like that.
Tubing? No? Okay. That's where the line is drawn.
We're
Maybe
not
like
joking around.
The
Anthony.
line in the snow.
Maybe like Fortnite?
Always, yeah, that's anywhere.
That's
Well-
really cool.
It feels like we've been on this slide for a fortnight. Let's move on to the next slide. Damn, look at that. It's Denali National Park and Preserve. This national park is larger than the state of New Hampshire with over 6,045,000 acres of preserved land.
Wait, this is in Alaska? I thought this was LA with all the rams I see.
There are precisely 2 rams, and as you know, that could not fill a roster.
As I know.
You're a big football head. Just like
Hey, Arnold, I know. What else do you have about this?
Oh my God.
Well, guys, here we have a gorgeous slide. It truly is one of the most beautiful national parks in the United States. It's got a sweeping field of green leading up to these mountain ranges. Obviously, the park contains Denali, which is the tallest mountain in North America at over 20,000 feet high, but it also contains forests, tundra, glaciers, and just a ton of wildlife. So it's a gorgeous place to go and hike around and check out. So you said you did take a trip to Denali.
No, I never
No.
went to like the park. I was just near there at the end of the
okay.
season. But yeah, I've never been to the park, although it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it one of those mountain peaks that you can kind of see from a long, like everywhere around, or is it
I think
part
like,
of a mountain chain?
it's definitely part of the Alaska range.
Okay.
But I think like there's usually a lot of cloud cover, so people will talk about like, oh, we had 2 days where we could see the mountain. Like it's hard to see because it's so tall.
Mysterious up in the
Yeah,
clouds.
shrouded big time.
You know, this also, it seems like there's sort of like a flat parking lot where this photo's being taken. And with flat space like that, it looks like a good place where you could learn to do Da'ali.
Maybe. Perhaps, Stu, but maybe you'd be interfering with some nice wildlife creatures.
Never. They
And
look
as-
like they bored.
Hey, we might find Christopher McCandless in this park.
Where did
Sure,
he
yeah.
where did he go off to?
Here. He went here.
Is this the park where he passed?
Yeah, he went here, found that bus, and then ate something bad and died.
I believe potato plants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the theory.
What are
Well,
you
people-
talking about?
Into the wild?
Into the wild.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was this kid, I guess, who like just up and left, went to Alaska and survived out in the wilderness for a couple months and then died, got a book written about him and then a movie
Well,
directed by Sean Penn.
much like Harry Potter, it's a piece of media I've never consumed, nor will I.
Not on the
But-
page, not on the screen.
I would like to consume this photo a million times a day. It would put me in such a positive mood. What a shot. Guys, can you imagine standing right there and breathing in that fresh air?
Am I on my board?
Yeah, you can be on your board if you wish.
Well, then I'm feeling electrified.
Damn. Well, I personally, this is somewhere I've got to go before I die. I
How-
think this is a gorgeous, gorgeous shot.
How many state parks are there in Alaska? Because there's just so much free space that I feel like, why not make it all parks?
Yeah, I will get this wrong, but it's something like 60. Like it's a ton.
Yeah.
Some insane number. Yeah.
It's like an easy majority of Alaska is federal owned land and
Good.
most of that is parks.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's like over 70%.
Which is a good thing, but then it also leads to, I think, drilling when recently with some.
Yes.
Look,
That's a
I-
major industry in Alaska, of course, is
Yeah,
is
number
oil.
one, oil.
Which is a bummer because the number one industry should be hitting half pipes with my Rams on boards. Am I right, Anthony?
Absolutely. Well, let's do a trick and turn to the next slide.
It's more like a treat.
Cool. Here we have, what is it? Kenai? Kenai?
Oh, sure. Kenai. Yeah.
Kenai.
Yeah.
Kenai Fjords, much like the Kenai
Oh,
of
sure.
Mad Eye Moody. Kenai Fjords National Park. It's 600,069,984 acres, and it was established in 1980. It's actually located near Seward, as we discussed, a popular port for cruise ships, as we discussed. These notes were all written before I knew the exact details of your awesome trip. This contains one of the largest ice fields in the U.S. with about 38 glaciers, and then the glacial valleys are known as fjords. And there's a ton of wildlife, including the usual Alaskan suspects: seals, killer whales, humpback whales, moose, bears, and many more. So this is kind of a, obviously there's nowhere to kayak in this particular shot. This is people standing on one of the glaciers, and just looking out over a big valley. But it is, you can definitely see the natural beauty of this entire area in this shot. And looking at this, I'm incredibly jealous of your experience because damn, this is an incredible place to even behold.
Yeah, definitely crazy. And so the Kenai Fjords National Park is where I was there. I was there every day. Like that's where our trips were. And it's cool because it's only accessible by boat, except for one glacier that you can drive to and like see. But otherwise, yeah, you have to take a boat to get there. So it's super
Wow.
remote.
You know what's crazy about Anthony said this shot, but this could also be a video. We just wouldn't know because the glacier moving so slow, right?
These people would be so cold if they were just standing still like that.
What?
Duh.
Look, Glo, in this park, I mean, like, did you do a lot of glacier walking? Is this recommended what these folks in the picture are doing?
I'm sure they are there. I'm sure it's fine with what they're doing. Some glaciers are like super active. Like we would go to one called Ialik that is like the most actively calving glacier in the park. So like ice is falling off. 6 feet of ice a day is falling off.
Jesus.
So that's like super unstable. That's one you don't want to be on. But there are some that are fine, like moving really slowly or retreating really quickly. Yeah, so like I've been up to the Harding ice field, that largest ice field, and that's really cool. And you can walk on that and everything.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, some
Man.
places are more dangerous than others for sure.
That's wild to think about that. Like, you can have so much ice that it just moves itself
Mhm.
and just carves itself through land. I find that
Insane.
so fucking wild.
Yeah.
6 feet of ice a day. Kind of sounds like my SVU dream date, you know?
You said you were referencing something that held by Alec? Held by Alec?
Hmm?
No? Did I mishear something? Well, let's abandon that and we can clip that right out of the episode. I misheard something and that's completely on me.
But what's
That's
this
all
we're
gone.
looking at?
So let's move on to the next slide. Here we have Mendenhall Glacier. Located in Mendenhall Valley near Juneau, it's almost 14 miles long, but it's currently retreating due to rising temperatures.
Boo. Boo to global warming, but also to this picture.
Why?
Why? This is a gorgeous shot. You
Oh.
see,
You know
see
what?
the blue and white of the ice.
I'll let the person who has some experience with glacial ice melt. Do you notice anything bad in this photo? I mean, other than global warming taking place?
No, I
I think you need to look in the bottom right-hand corner of
yeah,
the image.
there's ice that has fallen off.
No, look even farther
is
to the
that-
bottom right. There seems to be some
No.
sort of football player there.
Oh, naturally, that's Richard Mendenhall stopping in to look at his favorite glacier. You know, Steelers legend and Ballers co-creator,
Oh,
Richard
wow.
Mendenhall.
And what luck that you, a giant Ballers fan, managed to get a picture of him next to the glacier.
You know, to the glacier's benefit, it is warm, unlike us, where we're frozen in place.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely. I think this is a gorgeous shot. You see the kind of juxtaposition. There's like a beautiful lush green foreground, and then instantly it just looks like the surface of Hoth in the background. It's crazy.
Yeah. Honestly, thinking about the global warming that's taking place here makes me want to go goth. I'm so upset and sad about it.
Mm. Stu, I think you'd look great with some black lipstick.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah,
Glo, if you went goth, maybe you could call it gloth.
cool.
Thanks.
No problem. What do you think about global warming? Do you believe in it, first off?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, totally.
Living in Alaska for 6 months, I mean, it's one of those states where you can like actively see the results of it.
Definitely.
How do people feel about the active process of global warming in Alaska?
Yeah, so a lot of people are coming on vacation to Alaska to see the glaciers because they fear that they're not going to be able to see them for very long in their lifetime, which is valid. The thing about like people will come to see a glacier like this that's spilling right into the ocean, and it's like spilling right into the ocean, but that's what it's supposed to be doing because a glacier is always going to be moving.
Mhm.
It has to be moving downhill. But what makes it healthy is that maybe at the top of this glacier, like it's still collecting enough snow where it's like staying the same size.
Mhm.
But what we're seeing in some glaciers, like they're retreating really fast, and then some are pretty healthy, like they're holding onto the land around it and doing pretty well. So it's hard to bum people out on their vacation and be like, "This is us. Look what's happening. Look what you did." But some of them are supposed to be moving. It's not sad to see ice falling off a glacier,
Right.
you know, necessarily in itself. But if you look at glaciers on a global scale, super bad. Like we're in a pretty bad spot. So yeah.
You call it super bad. I'll reference another great comedy. It's Game Over, man. Anthony?
Huh?
No,
Let's move on to the next slide.
Goodness.
Cool. It had to be the Iditarod National Historic Trail, a 1,000-mile trail running from Seward This is wrong. Running from Seward to Nome. It was originally established and used by Alaskan Native people until 1910 when gold fever struck and it became a popular travel route for prospectors. In 1918, the gold rush kind of died down and the trail went largely unused until a famous incident in 1925 where 20 dog sled teams carried the diphtheria vaccine almost 700 miles in roughly 5 days and saved Nome from a potentially disastrous outbreak. This historical incident is frequently credited as the inspiration for the Iditarod Trail sled dog race, but it actually commemorates the history of the gold rush and its impression on the state. The race has been running annually since 1973 and mostly sticks right down the historic trail. And it's got some treacherous areas. People are constantly hit by whiteouts, much like we saw in that first slide where you just can't see anything. There's lots of ice. There's lots of, dangerous areas where you could get lost. And sometimes the trail is adjusted, and it could be to get around some inclement weather or particularly harsh conditions. And sometimes it's just a part of the race to keep it from, being an obvious path. So, as we can see, it's still used to this day. We have a team of dogs racing and prepping for the big day.
Yeah, it really reminds me of the heroes of our past who saved so many with those vaccines.
Maybe one particular friend of ours.
Who? Wait, what?
Guys, we have a little friend in the corner there. Balto!
Yeah.
Yeah!
Balto, oh no, this is a mess.
When's the last time you guys have seen Balto?
Let's go around the horn. Tim?
I think maybe 14 years ago. I think I was like 11 or something like that when I last saw it.
Nice.
Don't know if I've ever seen the whole movie.
What?
Yeah, probably 15 years.
Yeah.
Wow. The last time I saw it, they were randomly showing it at Loyola University Chicago. They had a screening for some reason.
And you were all alone in the theater, right?
No, I actually remember going there with a group of friends, and we were under the impression that one of our friends was coming to meet us there, and they ghosted us. Didn't come to see Balto, and we all cried in the theater. But that was because of the movie.
You were crying because you were so upset that they were passing out vaccines, right?
Yep. How could they do that to those poor kids?
Guys, Glo, any history with the Iditarod while you were there?
Not much. I will say it no longer starts in Seward. Now it starts in Homer. So I don't know why they moved it, but it's now Homer to Nome.
So
No, but it used to be Seward.
Okay.
How long is it? It's like 1,000 miles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like
1,000 miles.
A little bit over.
A Vanessa Carlton song's worth of trail.
Oh, God.
No.
What's next?
All right, fine. Let's move on. No one's got anything else to say about this incredibly important historical trail. That's fine.
Whoa.
Now,
I see a big fat road.
I included this slide specifically for Tim, and I just want to preemptively say to everyone, I'm sorry, because Tim is going to freak out. This is Dalton Highway, Alaska Route 11, named the Dalton Highway after Alaskan engineer James Dalton. Originally, it was a supply road for the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, and it runs parallel to the line, so it's super remote and rather poorly maintained, making it incredibly dangerous. It runs 414 miles from the north of Fairbanks and down to the south of Dead Horse, Alaska, which I thought was a very grim name. But as you can see, it's frequented by truckers who are doing some of the most dangerous work in the entire United States, statistically.
Did any of you guys watch the show, like Ice Road Truckers? Tim mentioned it a little bit.
No, I've never seen it.
No, Anthony, Tim?
Nah.
I watched like the first 2 seasons, but I know a lot about it.
It's like such a wild profession because it is so dangerous, but also like very, very, very necessary for a lot of the communities in like northern Alaska. I just want to share with you guys this weird story about it, is that I saw an episode where there was a frog infestation somewhere, and there were so many of them on the road that like when these trucks would run them over, it was like a serious, like it was a like a problem. You would slide off the road and crash. And so truckers would have to stop. They'd have signs, like handmade signs that say like frogs ahead. And truckers would have to stop and like push frogs off the road before they could clear. And so not only were like, I think something about it being so cold that the frogs like don't move fast or like get out of the way of stuff. So not only were they ice road truckers, they were also ice toad chuckers.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, baby.
Wow. Whoa. Oh my God.
Glo, you feel pretty cool being from Colorado now?
I don't know.
What's up, dude? All right.
I'm not sure.
He extended for the handshake once again and was harshly declined.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet.
This is an interesting shot. You can really get a feel for how remote this highway is, and imagine being one of those truckers all alone out in the wilderness. Anything could happen.
Yeah,
Anything.
no convoy to keep you company.
No
friends.
No one's squawking over the radio. That's why I always turn on the ham in my room, the ham radio in my room. Try to find a signal to keep some lonely drivers company.
That's not the only ham in your room.
No.
I'm talking about you big ham.
Oh, well, I've also got plates and plates of honey baked under my bed. All right, guys. Let's move on to the next slide.
Can we make a supercut of Glo's size but this episode?
All right, well, hopefully no one will sigh at this slide. It's the Alaska Native Heritage Center. It's located at Anchorage and opened in 1999. It features 6 life-sized native homes, a theater, a gathering place, and a section called the Hall of Cultures. This center provides demonstrations and educational sessions to share the heritage of the 11 major cultural groups of Alaska. And out front, they have giant whale bones, and then like traditional totems and really interesting artifacts contained throughout. And they do a lot of like live demonstrations where you see some of like the cultural traditions and cultural garb. And it really is an interesting place to go. And it's awesome that it keeps those cultures alive and provides that education to people who are passing through.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't make it to this particular heritage center, did you?
I did not, but that's one place I definitely want to visit if I go back. I've heard it's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you, having been in Alaska for a period of time, I wonder how they feel or how the state's like vibe is towards their native culture. Some states definitely do a lot less than others in terms of like bringing it to the forefront and celebrating it, the past history. Do you think Alaska is kind of the right direction, wrong direction?
Oh,
Obviously, you can only speak for some parts of it.
I can only speak for my experience, and I
Sure.
don't think I can speak for them at all, truly. They've been through a lot in the state and are still like battling a lot of federal issues for sure. But yeah, I'm not one to speak for them for sure.
I wonder, like, I found a bunch of heritage centers. Like, there are tons. And I wanted to talk about it in my game, but then I was like, you know what? We'll talk about something that Anthony really knows a lot about and likes. HP.
Never have I had a chocolate frog. No reflective cards of important historical figures for me.
Seems like you know a lot about what we're talking about.
Oh, is that contained within the lore of Harry Potter? This is my imagination that I'm working with.
You might be synced up with JK herself.
Wow. Well, frequently on this podcast, I am JK, but I'm not JK when I'm saying let's move on to the next slide for the sake of time.
Let's be serious about it.
All right.
Aw.
Wow, that's a fairly realistic bear costume. Down at the University of Alaska Museum of the North, located on the campus of University of Alaska Fairbanks. It originally started building its collection of artifacts in 1924, and it opened the first version of the museum in 1936. And then a fundraising effort to move the collection to a new building ran from 1975, Tim's favorite band, to 2001, A Space Odyssey. The current building was completed in 2006.
What are you just free associating while you speak?
The current building was completed in 2006. And it studies the cultural and natural histories of Alaska. It curates collections of rare artifacts and art pieces and provides educational programs. So, you can learn a lot about wildlife here, but you can also learn about, like different tribes and different local cultures and art. And, it does a little bit of it all. It's got a broad base in its collection.
Glo, is this the museum you mentioned going to?
I went to the Anchorage Museum, which I do not believe this is what that is.
Where was this one, Anthony?
I'm not sure.
This is University of Alaska Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Museum.
okay. Yeah, I was not in Fairbanks. Yeah.
How many universities are there in Alaska? Is there like an ASU and an AU there?
There's a bunch of gold, that's for sure.
A bunch of gold rocks?
AU. It's the chemical
Incredible.
symbol for gold.
Hey, you guys,
Jesus.
reel it in and focus on this bear that's greeting us.
Yes.
Wow, what a gorgeous specimen. It's a live bear that stands on a rotating platform. It waves to all the entrance.
It does not wave to the entrance. Its hands are by its side. There's no way this is an animatronic bear.
I almost got confused this bear with Hagrid.
What?
All right. So I think this is a cool museum. Obviously, it looks like a pretty standard museum fare. It doesn't look like the most exciting lighting or anything, but that doesn't mean that it's not an interesting and viable place to go when you're trying to learn. Let's move on to the next slide.
Are you
I
mad?
feel like summertime. I feel like summertime in SeaWorld. I feel like a dead fucking fish.
Oh boy.
All right, guys, we're finally here. The Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. Does anybody know what the Aurora Borealis are? Like what causes them?
I think I know.
Tim,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Is it the solar winds hitting the electromagnetic shield of the Earth?
Yes, it hits the charged particles. It changes the trajectory of charged particles in the magnetosphere. A new and interesting project for the MCU,
Shut
the
the fuck up.
magnetosphere.
I hate this.
Look, while you're doing that, I'm gonna say I'm impressed, Anthony, that you have the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
This time of year, this part of the country, situated entirely here on your computer screen. Absolutely gorgeous. Glo, did you have the opportunity to peek the boar while you were there?
Not in Alaska. I have seen it before, but not in
Oh,
Alaska.
where have you
Yeah.
seen it?
I have seen it from an airplane flying over Greenland,
Oh.
but I have not seen it in Alaska.
Flying over Greenland.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
What are these domes? Are these just homes for gnomes?
I think these are little like tourist places that you can go and pay a fuck ton of money to spend the night. I think they're like little tourist cottages.
Well, I think there is like a pretty booming industry of like tourism industry of like we'll get you north enough to see the Aurora Borealis, but even then, it's not guaranteed to ever happen, right? Like
Yeah.
there are times when it's cloudy, I assume.
Yeah, there's like a forecast for it, like a weekly forecast where there's
Oh.
like a number on some scale of like how likely you are to see it.
The Aurora Borealis. Hold on, I'll go to the bathroom and figure this out, guys.
I got one.
Stay in there.
Airbnb Borealis.
That's really good.
Thanks. That was
Glo,
all
do
right.
you want to eat shit with us? I'm making jokes about this horrible thing. We've got nothing.
This is beautiful. Again, another like great shot of fucking space and science like right before your eyes.
I love science.
An incredible phenomenon, something that's truly like one of the most incredible things you can behold on this earth, you know?
Yeah, it's Aurora Borealis is first, and then a live recording of Statesman is second.
Mhm.
Thanks for the thumbs up, Camden.
So I was telling Stu that I wanted to include a picture of David Borealis in this, and then I found out that that's a Family Guy joke.
Look,
I got outpaced by Seth MacFarlane.
look, it should be known, and I want to say it for all the Bones fans out there. His name is David Borealis. And not only did you get outpaced by the MacFarlane, you don't even like Bones as much as me.
Never have I watched a crime procedural of any
Don't
sort.
start
Never
this.
have I dug up a body with the team. Never have I completed forensic information.
How about we bury this body and move on to the next slide?
Oh, let's move on to the next slide here. You're
Okay.
going to love this one.
Glo, you like Bones?
Here we have the Santa Claus house, located in North Pole, Alaska, which is about 1,700 miles from the true geographic North Pole, and located in Fairbanks North Star Borough.
So what, this is like a lie?
No, it's quite the opposite. Santa Claus actually lives here. The Santa Claus house is a huge gift shop featuring domesticated reindeer and the world's largest fiberglass statue of Saint Nick. Ho, ho, ho! It receives hundreds of thousands of letters from children every Christmas.
Well, let me ask this. Glo, Glo, Glo. You ever been here?
Oh man, no.
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 Okay.
Jesus.
This entire gift shop is painted like a candy cane, y'all. It's red and white.
And it's just as refreshing, huh? It's really good to see people celebrating Christmas in all parts of the world, you know? Do you guys celebrate the big C every at the end of
My
the year.
favorite Showtime series with Laura Linney. Of course I celebrate it. The Emmy board, sure enough, didn't celebrate it enough while it was on the air. I'll tell you that much.
How many people do you think work in this building? like legitimately.
People are elves.
Oh my God.
Come on, man.
I think that was really funny, Stu.
This seems like a fun place to take your kids. I like the idea of domesticated reindeer. Are reindeer something that you see like wild ones up in the tundra of Alaska? Are we far enough north?
People do. I think that's a thing.
Folks have.
I think folks have.
Well, they're famous for eating like moss and all sorts of little like little growy tundra stuff. Isn't that right?
Sure.
They eat
any
beards.
hoofstock is going to eat like, grass and
Hoofstock?
hoofstock. Hoofstock.
I've never heard that term
yeah,
before.
like anything with hoofs.
So is a cow a hoofstock?
I'd say that's hoofstock. Yeah,
Huh.
Would you call the devil hoofstock?
definitely. Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yes.
Sounds like a fun music festival. Hoofstock. Guys, don't bring grandma. You could bring the whole rest of the family. Otherwise, she might get run
Oh,
over.
no.
But let's go to the next slide. Finally, we come to the end. Bye, Alaska. Gone to the snow dogs. Does everybody love this slide?
No.
What are we seeing here?
Glo, why don't you describe the slide?
Okay, so this is a slide that says "Bye Alaska," with huskies, a Santa Claus that is smoking a cigar, I think, and Juno, the person from the movie Juno.
Anthony, I want to point out that it's pretty obvious you got the Gone to the Snow Dogs tag off of Google, and there's a transparent checkerboard pattern in the background. Not a real PNG file, or what's up?
Nope, that's actually a photograph of a whiteout occurring in downtown Anchorage.
Oh no.
So, bye, Alaska. We've seen it all. Glo, now that we've finally reached the end of this slideshow, let me ask, is there anything in particular that you've seen in the state that you think Anthony had forgotten? Something that really connected to you?
I'm a huge salmon fan. Big salmon head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't see a single one of the little pink
we
fishies.
didn't see a salmon.
What was I thinking?
It's not really like a place to go.
Well, I
So
mean,
that makes sense.
in a little bit, we are going to be moving on to the taste segment. And there is a chance that when Tim returns to the room, he could be holding a big plate of honey, honey smoked salmon? Is that's something?
I don't know.
Like a sweet candied salmon?
Sure.
You know that you can eat like a snack coming out of the lunchbox?
Mhm. Hopefully he'll have pie that we could, join together with a bite, much like our Washington episode. So back to the point. The slideshow, the PowerPoint, the slideshow was a great success. What would you rate it in terms of Harry Potter novels?
I would give this 7 books.
Whoa!
Yeah.
What?
God damn! I was not expecting that. Thank you so
No.
much.
Yeah, I'm easy to please.
Just like the 7th book of the Harry Potter franchise, I thought that PowerPoint felt deathly hollow. I didn't feel like it had the spirit of some other presentations, but you know what? I cede to our guest. And now, Tim, I think it's time to cede to the next segment.
Yeah, I was out of the room for a hot second, but it sounded like you got a Deathly Hallows of a book.
I absolutely did.
Well, congratulations, Anthony. That's a $1 billion franchise right there.
Hell yeah.
But nothing that you would know about. So we're going to move on to our next regular segment. Moving on from our eyes, we've explored Alaska with our noses as well. We're going to move on to exploring Alaska with our taste buds. So something that I prepared for you all today is something very simple, something Alaskan. And a little bit of sweet, a little bit of umami. We're going to explore both today with our tongues. So what I prepared for you all today is just a packet of salmon, of smoked salmon, and a couple of wild berries. Now, you don't have to eat this, of course, but I think that this is pretty indicative of all the food offerings that
Wow.
Alaska has to offer.
It smells like Seward in here all of a sudden.
Tim, was this fish recently frozen?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it was, I picked it up from Trader Joe's maybe an hour before recording and then kept it in the refrigerator up until then. But yeah, it might be a little bit frozen.
Okay. The flavor isn't frozen. Very active. Very delicious.
Good.
Jumping off my tongue. Glo, you were just talking about salmon. And now
Right.
that it's in front of you, you look nonplussed.
I'm not a big salmon. I'm a salmon fan. I'm a fan of them alive. I just don't eat salmon, but I love them. I think they're very sweet.
Do you eat other fish, or do you say no to fish?
I'm not a fish person. But
Are you big in other seafoods? A mollusk person, perhaps?
no.
Do you just not eat fish in general?
No, I just don't eat seafood.
Okay.
But yeah, I do love the sea.
Well, luckily we have the
Still.
salmon of the land here.
Yeah,
3 berry
definitely.
selections.
Oh, definitely.
Are you a big berry person?
Sure, yeah.
So that was one thing that I mean, obviously salmon is an easy link to Alaska. One thing that I was looking up online is that you can find a variety of wild berries that you can just eat.
Definitely.
Is that something that you experienced in Alaska?
Yeah. So when we were in the tundra, there were just millions of wild blueberries, like as far as the eye could see.
Really?
Yeah. So I ate that for days. on
Wow.
end, and that was insane.
That's so cool. So
yeah.
you could just pick them right off the bush and eat them.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they're just everywhere.
Oh,
And
that's
then
wild.
I see you have, are these raspberries?
Raspberries and
Yeah.
blackberries.
Okay. One thing that grows a lot, where I was at least, is salmon berries.
Oh,
yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. Salmon berries.
Yeah, what is a salmon berry?
It's pretty much a raspberry. I don't know why they're called that. I guess because it's like an Alaska thing.
Maybe salmon really like them, and when you can fish with them.
I've heard salmon come out of
Yes.
the river at night and will go up to the bushes and nibble on those berries.
It's true.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Glo, obviously, we got the berries, we got the fish. Are there other Alaska foods that you tried while you're there? Anything that you're like, oh, I've never had this before, and now that I'm sitting here in Alaska, it's touching my tongue.
Oh, man. No. I'm just not an adventurous eater, I think. But people, will eat all sorts of things. Like
Yeah.
someone yesterday was telling me that he ate a bear burger. Like
Whoa.
a bear hamburger, yeah.
That's pretty fucking wild.
I've heard of a rare burger, but a bear burger?
Medium bear.
Okay.
Did you ever have you said you weren't very adventurous, but
Yeah.
did you have the opportunity to eat anything like elk, caribou, or reindeer?
I think a lot of restaurants just had reindeer burgers, I think, but I never tried that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I've heard it's a pretty popular meat type.
Yeah.
It's very gamey and lean,
Yeah.
like any other deer. Let me ask you, when you mentioned going to Costco a lot,
Mhm.
what would you get while you were there? This is
Well,
going to be our taste connection.
Sure, yeah. No, this is actually good because the Costco in Anchorage, there's a Costco in Anchorage, and it's the most successful Costco in North America
Whoa.
because people go there and stock up.
And also, they sell a lot of hot dogs, right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. And I would just get bulk oatmeal.
Bulk
Oh,
oatmeal?
yeah, a lot of oatmeal.
Whoa.
Oh, and I got roasted a lot because I get chicken in a can.
What?
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Chicken in it. You say you're not adventurous. What the fuck?
This is about all I eat is tacos made out of black beans and chicken in a can.
Glow.
I have scurvy.
Even do you eat chicken in a can in Chicago?
Yeah, totally.
Whoa.
It's great.
I've never
Well,
heard
it's
it-
already cooked, so you can just put it in anything.
Oh shit.
And it's just shredded chicken.
Honestly,
breast.
that might not be a bad idea.
It's great.
I think it's a bad idea, and I'm sorry, Glow. Would you say that a taco with black beans and chicken in a can should be the international food of Alaska?
I would say probably not. I'm not the best representation for the state of Alaska, unfortunately.
Joe? Glow?
Jeez.
Jeez.
Joe Glow? I think you're the perfect guest to have on for Alaska. And I think even if you're not going to eat 6-7 slices of salmon, Anthony will. Okay?
Hey, we don't have salmon berries on the table, so I'm gonna get as close as I can by pairing some salmon and some berries.
Do I have to do this as well? Tim, you have berries and salmon in your hand.
I've got a little piece of salmon. I've got a raspberry, a blueberry, and a blackberry. So I'm going to have a myriad of flavors in my mouth.
Well, why don't you go? And in the meantime, Glow and I are going to talk about what do we think a cool salmon does?
A cool salmon?
Yeah, does it swim upriver? Does it breed? Is it one of the ones that survives?
Oh, man. This is probably the biggest thing I loved when I was in Alaska was salmon. Their life cycle is insane.
It's strange. Does it last? It's a year, right? Or
It's a few years.
when
It's
do they
crazy.
get signaled back to breed?
Yeah, so it depends on the type. There are 5 types in Alaska.
Can you name them?
No.
That's okay.
But the one that you're eating right now is sockeye, which is super popular. a very beautiful salmon. Well, I'll tell you why in a minute. So they're born in a certain river. Let's just say they're born, in any river. And the salmon will be born, and then it'll swim out from freshwater into saltwater and just live in the ocean for like 5 years or so and just be a salmon, just hanging out, not getting eaten. So it's like surviving for all that time. And then after about 5 years, depending on the type, something in its head is like, oh, it's time. And wherever it is in the ocean, it'll just go right back to that river. It'll like find that river, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
And then it'll sit where the saltwater meets the freshwater, and its whole body will change. Like for sockeye, or for all salmon, they'll get a little bit bigger. They'll get these like sharp teeth, so they can like fight their way up the river against the other salmon.
Whoa.
And fight for mates.
Right.
And for sockeye, they'll turn like bright red, and they're not usually bright red. That's like a mating thing, because it's like really hot to the female salmon.
You know,
And then they'll start working their way up the river, and once they enter the river, they'll never eat again. So they'll like be starving to death the entire time they're working their way up, and then they'll mate, and then they'll just die and float back down. That's their life.
Wow.
And it is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah.
You seem to know so much about like the wildlife and nature. Is that something that you had studied in school, or something that you just picked up on your way to Alaska, or just something that you
Oh man, I wish I'd studied it in school. I studied comedy writing and performance.
Nice.
So no, but yeah, that was just like all of the training we did for what we were doing.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's
cool.
fascinating.
you mentioned something goes off in the salmon's head that essentially tells them, like, time to die, you know? Like,
Yeah.
let's go up there, we'll die there.
Yeah.
I think all three of the statesmen can really commiserate, as we have that feeling in our head multiple times through every record.
Yeah, time
you
to
know?
die.
Time to die.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, you die on a hill pretty much every single episode, Stuart.
I do a lot of hill dying, and I'm about to do one more. If
Okay.
what's the salmon's favorite song, guys? Take me to the river, right? Like the
Nice.
song? Thanks.
Just to tie up the loose end,
Yeah.
the salmon berry experiment was a failure to me. I would not recommend anybody do that at home.
True.
Great.
Yeah.
It
Mixed berries and
shockingly-
salmon, really, really a terrible decision.
Savory, sweet, fishy, bad.
Perhaps a great ingredients for a morning protein shake.
Yo, that apple pie and salmon, though, was really good.
It was better than this for sure.
Yeah, it was actually
listen-
very, very good.
You listened to that one, Glo. We, on the Washington episode, we
Mhm.
ate apple pie and salmon in the same bite, and it was really good. You should try it out one time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't eat salmon, but maybe for that, I
Yeah,
will.
but
Yeah,
you should
that's
try
true.
apple pie. Pretty good.
Thanks.
Glo,
Good
now that we've sort of talked about Alaska cuisine, I feel like we need to rank this segment and
Mhm.
Tim's ability to bring in food that represents Alaska. Out of 7 Harry Potter books, what do you think? I mean, how did Tim do?
Well, you have a wide variety here. You did your research, and for that, I'm going to give you 7 books.
Wow. I honestly cannot believe it. You know what? I'm going to take Deathly Hallows. I'm going to put it on my shelf, the second of 2. And I'm going to admire it. That's a limited edition copy of Deathly Hallows. Thank you, Glo.
Gotcha.
We're going to move on to our next regular segment where we explore Alaska, not with our taste buds, not with our sniffers, nor our eyes, but with our listeners. I'm not talking about the ones on the other side of the mic. I'm talking about our ears. Stuart, why don't you take this one away?
Absolutely. And just like when you start a relationship that will stay forever, we're going to start this one with a little gem, a gemstone, that is. Camden, quick, play.
Who will save your soul when it comes to the bells now? Oh, I'll save your souls for those lies that you tell, boy. And who will save
Wow,
your
huh?
soul if you won't
There were stars on the flag, but there are now jewels in your ears, everyone. That was singer-songwriter Jewel.
It's like the Alluvian Islands all broken up.
I hear that there's a big problem in schools throughout the United States right now where kids are ducking out of class to go in the bathroom and play her CDs.
Yes, absolutely. We know of it, I think, a death in every state so far because of her music.
Jewel, not even once.
So Jewel grew up in Homer, Alaska, which again we hit on it earlier, but it explains why her music career has generated so much dough. She grew up yodeling in Alaska, but eventually moved south to perform in the coffee house scene of San Diego. And I think you can kind of hear it in that song. She has one of those 90s voices that like thing, and
Nice.
I think that's like really similar to yodeling, sonically, I suppose.
There was a little bit of a yodel in her voice in that little clip that you played.
Yeah, I think so. So at the time of her first record deal, and this is very famous, Jewel was living out of her car. Talk about rags to riches. The first album she put out went platinum 12 times over. And I'm sure it's because of listeners like us.
God
So the
damn.
three of you guys
Jeez.
fans of Jewel at all?
I had one of those Zunes when I was a kid.
Oh,
Yeah.
When I did not have an iPod.
Hell
I had
yeah.
a Zune.
Okay.
And I had one album on it, and it was a Jewel album that my dad put on there.
Did you ask him to?
No. He was like, here, you can have some of my music. And that was all he put on.
Wow. Okay. So, does anyone, I don't know anything really about Jewel's
No.
music. I know it's definitely coffee house 90s vibe. It's very sad and it's very, I don't know, vowelish. There's a lot of vowels. Glo, how do you feel having listened to her a lot as a child?
I don't know if that's a fair statement.
Okay.
Yeah. I truly haven't listened to Jewel since I, again, was a little kid, so I'm not sure.
I'm glad we could throw back to those memories, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, she won 4 Grammys and sold 30 million records, which means Jewel really is a shiny diamond in Alaska's royal tiara.
Nice.
Thanks.
If
Good
we
written
linger
line.
on this artist any longer, this is going to be a Jewel pod.
Okay. Her other hits include You Were Meant for Me, Foolish Games, and Standing Still. We played a foolish game earlier in this podcast. And in a wild decision that I want to tell you guys about, on Jewel's official YouTube channel, her songs have ads in the middle of them. It's really wild. Like halfway through a 3-minute song, a 15-second ad will play. I don't know, it's upsetting, but I guess
Fucking
it
sucks.
It's making that fat money. What do you think about that, Tim?
That
What do you
really-
think of Jewel as a person?
I mean, I don't know them as a person. I have never listened to their music, but that YouTube is putting commercials in the middle of a song? That's
No.
heinous.
The uploader decides where mid-roll ads go in their videos.
Even if it's a copywritten piece of music,
Yeah,
it's Vivo.
Jewel decides. Yeah. Jewel, the owner of the account, decides where the commercial will go on it.
And it's not a Vivo account.
I think it's just like jewel@earthlink.com is the name.
Are you sure that's how it works? And not YouTube decides like where commercials are placed?
Front and back end. I can't believe we're getting into the
Yeah,
weeds
what are we
on this.
doing?
Front and back end ads are decided by advertisers. However, mid-roll placement is decided by YouTube creators. And if you can't go to the creator suite, Tim, I don't want you to get all up in my face about it, all right?
Hey, I'm just asking the questions here. I'm trying to get to the bottom of YouTube.
Well, let's get to the bottom of Jewel. Any feelings about her before we get out of here, guys? Glo?
Seems like a lovely person.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wish I knew more.
Speaking of lovely people who do a good job representing Alaska, let's chew on this next hit titled Bubblegum. That was very fun, very poppy, sort of like the pop of a bubble gum bubble. That was Pamua, a traditional native musical group formed in Anchorage, Alaska. Their music is based on traditional Yupik and Inuit chants, which they reinterpret with like a modern pop twist. This song, called Bubblegum, is about the singer reminiscing on a time when a fellow student in class was chewing gum without permission, and we've all been there. Anthony, I see you chewing berries without permission.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I didn't realize that I had to ask while I was in your segment.
So in 2003, Pamua won Record of the Year at the Native American Music Awards, and their whole career, they've recorded 5 albums and toured internationally since like the mid-90s. They are a very big deal in Alaska and in a lot of the northern territories of Canada because, I mean, obviously you can probably guess, but there isn't a lot of traditional native music that is made that like isn't just a holdover of like, oh, this is a song that's been around for like, I don't know, a couple hundred years and passed down generation to generation. This is like a new fun twist on it that like younger people could perhaps listen to, like the young man chewing gum against the rules in this class.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking cool. Good find, Stuart.
No problem, Tim. Their blend of Inuit drum dance melodies and R&B vocal stylings have been called the harmonious soul of Alaska. And I, unfortunately, have to argue with it. Glo, I consider you the harmonious soul of Alaska.
Wow. I think you're wrong.
All right. Guys, any feelings on Pam Yua before we move on?
No.
I thought that was great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Great find.
It's very, very great. And the music video, worth watching. These guys are going ham right out there in the Arctic. I mean, it looks freezing cold, and they're like shooting and like whipping and dancing and shit.
Wow.
It's wild. All in like traditional Inuit gear. It's pretty fucking cool, all right?
Ham, you know, I'm interested. For my bedroom, Stu.
Oh my god.
God.
Let's move on.
Hamya, well, you know, that song's probably going to be sticking around in our head for a while, and when I go to bed tonight, I'll still be able to feel it. Cameron? Camden? Jesus, guys,
What's
I need
up with
sleep.
you and names today? Are
Joe?
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now.
Really?
I've been feeling it since 1966 now.
Yeah.
Might be over now, but I feel it still.
Portugal, the man is from Alaska, where they formed.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they formed in Wasilla, Alaska in the early 2000s. The band's original name was Anatomy of a Ghost. Obviously, they had to change that because a ghost skeleton is too scary to even imagine. Well, after working hard in the indie band circuit, releasing a handful of albums, playing festivals, and opening for bands like the Black Keys, PTM finally hit the mainstream success with this song that we just listened to, Feel It Still. Glo, you stood up, took off your headphones, and danced a jig in our room. You a big Portugal the Man fan?
You know it. Yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're good. No, I mean, Wasilla is like a really small town, so it's really cool. It like came out of there.
It's
Which
shocking.
I feel like is the story of a lot of bands.
Coming out of Wasilla?
Coming out of a small town, I'd say.
They seem to have like had a lot of local support from like back when they were Anatomy of a Ghost. Just thinking about it. But I think once they transferred to Portugal the Man, like they have been performing pretty constantly on tour for like 12 years. And this is like the first year that they had a song really reach mainstream success. Feel It Still is the feel-good hit of the summer last year. It won the band their first Emmy, and we're still feeling good because of it today. Right, guys?
That was only last year?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Time flies. That sickens me.
Glo, I'm sure you're still feeling it good with the way that you feel about Alaska these days.
Totally, yeah.
Great.
You know, I'm happy we're exploring the anatomy of a ghost, much like Dan Aykroyd in that infamous scene of Ghostbusters.
Why do we always talk about Dan Aykroyd getting a blowjob from a ghost? Like, it's not...
It happened, and we can't forget that somebody let that happen in a movie. Stu, what's next?
Yeah, let's move on.
We're not done with PTM just yet. The band is more than just fun guitar licks and bumping drummer kicks. They also do a myriad of charitable work in their home state and abroad. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so now that we've heard Portugal the Man, I want to ask you guys, are you guys Portugal the fans?
Ish. I can find myself listening to that particular song. I don't know any other songs by Portugal the Man, but I find myself tapping my foot to that one.
Yeah, they're cool. I haven't listened to any of their earlier albums, but I've heard that song incessantly in commercials and everything, and it's one of the ones that hasn't aged on me poorly. Let's move on to the next song.
Well, you should check out their album, Evil Friends. I relate to that one. Camden, why don't you play the next song?
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole?
Wow.
How could anyone fail to notice
That's
that's
a touching song, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just like the older brother in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies, this is Roderick. Libby Roderick, that is. She was born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska, and after graduating from Yale, Libby was catapulted into the fame stratosphere with this song, How Could Anyone? This song, with its message of self-love and inner beauty, became an international sensation in the 90s. It was such a big deal that it was sung by Hillary Clinton and thousands of others at a UN conference in Beijing in 1995. I can find no footage of this happening.
Wow.
It's written that it did, though, which pretty exciting stuff.
Wow.
I can't even imagine what that was like.
Well, Libby's website claims that it occurred, and this is how she describes her touring on her own website, by the way. The surprising power and depth of Libby's music and the humor and spontaneity of her performances have attracted large and enthusiastic audiences across the continent and fans all over the world. Guys, do you think you're now Libby Roderick fans, internationally or nationally here in America, Alaska? Glo?
I think there's a potential. I enjoyed that clip. I'm not familiar at all, but if they sang it at the UN conference, it's got to be good.
The Beijing UN conference of 1995. Yeah, pretty big year. Tim, you love space. Would it surprise you to hear that her song "Dig Down Deep" was played on the surface of Mars for the Spirit rover?
Now that makes sense because I believe Spirit was equipped with a drill to collect soil samples. So
she's
that
currently
makes
an
sense.
active activist advocating for environmental change and Native Alaskan rights. Libby Roderick, kind of the songbird of Alaska, if you ask me.
Nice.
Well, like a songbird, maybe it's time for us to flap our wings and fly on to the last song in the segment. Glo, what do you think?
I think let's do it. Yeah.
Camden?
Well, give me a team and a good lead dog and a sled that's built so fine, and let me race those miles to Nome 1049. Then when I get back to my home, hey, I can tell my tale. I did the right trail.
Absolutely. Glo liked this one.
Glo
Yeah,
perked up as soon as I did a right trail.
I'm on board.
That was awesome.
I'm fully on board.
Guys, that was, of course, Hobo Jim, or Jim Varsos,
Of course, we
his
all
real
know.
name. Yeah, well, we all know. He was technically born in Wisconsin, but he hitchhiked to Alaska as a teenager and truly absorbed the spirit of the Great White North once he was there. Guys, did you know that in 1994, he was named Alaska's official balladeer?
Balladeer. What is that?
The person who ballads.
Gotcha.
of
Sings
the-
ballads.
Damn.
Wow.
Now there's no other title that I want more than official state balladeer.
You can probably have it. Hobo Jim has received an honorary doctorate in fine arts from the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. And the song we listened to celebrates the brave participants of the Iditarod Dog Sled Race, the famous 1,000-mile race across the frozen Atlantic landscape. Very cool.
Yeah.
Atlantic
Sure.
landscape. I'm sure you mean Alaskan landscapes.
I do indeed. You see, his songs focus on that Alaskan landscape, on the working man of Alaska, with his hit tunes about commercial fishermen, loggers, and miners.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah,
he
I
has
mean,
a-
that's pretty Alaskan. That sounds really Alaskan to me.
Yeah, mining, fishing, logging, and I don't mean logging on, Tony.
Damn.
You know, I'm really just glad you didn't play like any Sarah Palin campaign commercials.
Well, if you remember, I think the Idaho episode, I played a great Sarah Palin song because that's where she was born.
Right. And you would never revisit a joke.
While while his name might be Hobo Jim, after coming to Alaska, it seems like this hobo may have finally found a home. That was our fifth piece of audio. Glo, you were tapping toes and singing to Joe throughout the segment.
You're right.
I have to ask you, out of 7 Harry Potter books, and keep in mind that so far everyone has been perfect on this podcast. Out of 7 Harry Potter books, what would you like to rank my segment?
Well, this is something I knew nothing about, most of this. So I learned a lot, is what I'm saying.
Thank you.
I had some good laughs. I had a great time.
Mhm.
It seems like you worked really hard on this. So, Stuart, I'm going to give you 7 Harry Potter books.
Wow. I did not see that coming at all.
A complete,
Me neither.
a perfect series of books.
Just like an underdog victory of say, Harry in the Goblet of Fire. We have come out from we're all underdogs and now we're the winners. Eh, boys?
Yeah. Well, you know, Stuart, great job on your 7 out of 7 Harry
Thank you.
Potter books. Another Deathly Hallows of a book, a Deathly Hallows of a segment. We're going to move on to our last regular segment to explore, not with our eyes, not with our listeners, not with our smellers, not with our taste budders, but with our hearts. We're going to go around in the circle, starting with Anthony, to Glo, to Stuart, then to myself, to talk about how Alaska makes us feel. Anthony?
Alaska, one of the most unique states, we've talked about and seen. Absolutely gorgeous, largely untouched in many places in a really, really beautiful and rare way. And I really, really appreciate that. It's somewhere I've always wanted to go since I was a wee boy, reading about it in one of my first books ever. I was obsessed with the tundra. I wanted to learn all about the wildlife. I was super, super hell-bent on becoming a conservation scientist when I was older, and then quickly realized that I have no skills in that department. And I decided that I should abandon it and pursue film.
Yeah,
and then
hashtag
in turn,
keep Anthony out of STEM.
And then in turn, pursue advertising and public relations. Guys, I have to go to Alaska. I have to. I really have to experience it for myself. It seems like an experience you can't get anywhere else, and I think that it is truly incredibly beautiful. The pictures that I went through that even didn't make it to the slideshow presentation, some of the national parks that I bumped for other slides, such as the incredibly important North Pole slide, just made my jaw drop. And I truly think that it's somewhere that I will wind up one day once I buy a brand new, wonderful coat.
Glo.
Oh man, I'm ready. It's one of my favorite places on this planet. I'm very lucky to have spent a little bit of time there and maybe more in the future. And something that was mentioned briefly is oil and gas drilling and like things that affect like the climate and things that you can really see when you're in Alaska. So there are a lot of people in Alaska that are fighting for the rights of the land there and the people there. There are like villages in Alaska that are built completely on ice and they're watching the ground underneath them go away, which is insane. Not to bum everybody out here at the end, but this is like a very real thing. And so I feel very lucky to see it and be able to maybe help advocate for it and the people who are working hard to keep it safe. But yeah, it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I would encourage anybody to check it out.
Glo, we mentioned earlier in the podcast that you would give your former employer
An answer
as to whether or not you would be returning. And again, remember that they're listening live. Do you have an answer for us at the end of the podcast here?
No.
Wow.
Glo will not be returning.
Stuart.
We've been mentioning a lot of the natural beauty of Alaska, and in that way, and in its size, and in its beauty, I want to call Alaska America's backyard. It's like this beautiful, big, open space that we have that we don't realize, how incredible it is till it's gone. I grew up at a house with a backyard, and then I moved here to the city, and I think to myself, where all the grass go, And I don't mean moving from Colorado, where'd all the grass go, Tony? What I mean is that if we don't take care of Alaska now while we have it, it's going to disappear, like Glo said, right from out under our feet. And we are just going to be sitting here bummed looking at another flooded area that we no longer have. So I say protect and preserve this beautiful backyard while we have it. And yes, maybe those drill lines and everything are like dog poops in a backyard. They're little hazards. They're little landmines that make it a little bit worse. But if we go out there with a little trowel, we can pick them up, get rid of them, and roll around in the grass once again. And I get hives when I roll in grass.
Alaska. I've always wanted to go to Alaska, and I think you're right, Anthony, and I think I'm sharing this sentiment with you, Stuart, that I would love to go and explore there for a legitimate amount of time. Something along the lines of Glo's trip, where spending a significant amount of thinking time and just embracing that live nature actively happening in front of you. And I don't know. I don't really think about Alaska all that much because it's a place that really, really scares me. not in terms of like the wildlife or anything like that. Just like, it seems like a place where you go sometimes to run away from things or to escape the thing that you're like doing in like a big city or anywhere else in like the mainland of the United States. From what you were saying, Glo, it seems like a lot of the people that you were with were not from the state, trying to get out of wherever they were. And I've always considered doing that myself, of just like picking up and leaving. But I think that's just one of the things that I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it, or maybe it's just something that I don't really want. I don't know. I have to think about that one. But Stuart, I have one thing to say. I think I leaned on you a little bit hard on this episode, and I'll ask you to forgive me. If you have any questions or concerns about the great 50 states of the Statesman, reach out to us on Twitter, on StatesmanPod, on Facebook and Instagram, on Statesman Podcast, or by email at statesmanpodcast@gmail.com. Please like, rate, subscribe, and share the show with your friends because it helps the show out a lot. Glo, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking about your experience.
Thanks for having me.
Do you have anywhere that we can find you online, or any shows that we can find you around in the city?
Yeah, I do a show called Thunderdome. We're on Tuesdays right now at the Annoyance, and I'm on a team at IO called Stork, and we do shows every week.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
If anyone has the opportunity, please go see Glo. She is one of the great, I hope, underrated performers in this city.
Oh.
You are very, very, very funny, Glo. And
Thank
people
you.
should also go online and purchase your book, correct?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I wrote a book called Deadbeat Magpie. Yeah, it's on Amazon. Thanks.
Everybody buy a copy and send Glo an email that says, "The Statesman sent me here."
Yeah.
You don't have to plug it, but do you want to plug your Twitter? Because there's like tons
sure.
of great content on there.
Oh, God. Thank you. It's at Glo Chits. Easy
Sweet.
enough.
Thank you, Glo.
Yeah, thanks
Oh, yeah,
again, Glo.
thank you so much for being here, especially like so soon after coming back to the city. Like, after a long period of like kind of, having a long period of isolation and then immediately cramming into a tiny room to talk for hours on end is like
I agree.
probably
Yeah.
one of the most extensive conversations you've had other than your tour schedule. So really, really appreciate it. Are you more tired after sitting through this record or after a day of tour?
Oh, man. Well, just like a tour, this was not Aurora Borealis.
Yeah!
Wow.
She did it. She did it.
All right. Anthony Stewart, do you have anything to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'd love everybody, please follow me on Instagram at Stuart Highcar. You'll only be able to see one video when you hit that follow button. It's a funny one. But if you want the rest of my solid content, you got to follow and get authorized by me. And by the way, Glo, thank you so much for coming from 30 Days of Night to 3 Hours with Whites. It's been a tough one. Anthony?
Hello, everybody who just fast forwarded through Stu's plug section.
What the fuck?
I'm currently still doing Public Decay of Affection with the cast of Fever Dream at Second City every Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. You only have a few more opportunities to see it, which really breaks my tender heart. So please come out and enjoy these shows. This is a hell of a run. It's a hell of a show. And the people on this cast are undeniably some of the most special people I've ever met. So you really have to come out and enjoy it. Once again, Saturdays, 8:30 p.m., Second City.
Awesome.
Also, follow me on Twitter. Why not? I'm a Rossi.
Nice. Stu, you want to plug it? Yours is funny.
Yeah, I just plugged Instagram, but at Stuart Highcar, it's the same. At Stuart Highcar everywhere is where you'll find me. It's on my business card.
On behalf of my junior statesman, Anthony Rossi, and Stuart Highcar, I'm your elder statesman, Tim Ferrari. State positive.
If Ron lived in Alaska, his rat would be called Alaskabbers.
Well, mischief managed.
I was walking through icy streams that took my breath away. Moving slowly through westward water over glacial plains, and I walked off you. And I walked off